And the Cardinals will pull down the curtain on their initial voyage here at the new Busch Stadium in St. Louis. They conclude the series with the Cincinnati Reds. Yesterday, after a 1-0 defeat on Friday, the bats came out. Albert Pujols clubbed his 5th home run, an expected sort. Hector Luna, in his first start this year, drove in 3, including that solo home run. And then it was Scott Spiezio hitting his first National League home run, his first National League hit, coming off the bench to do that. Happy Easter, everyone. I'm Wayne Hagan, along with Rick Horton. And Rick, yesterday was a good game for the Cardinals, but they've got a good left-hander today in Mark Mulder going against a guy who's 2-0 in right-hander Bronson Arroyo.
And a happy Easter to you, too, Wayne. I'm glad the folks can enjoy their Easter with us today. And, yes, Mark Mulder is on the mound today. 2 very good starts this year. Mulder should neutralize Adam Dunn in the middle of this Reds lineup. It's a pretty good Reds lineup, but Mulder's been very effective. Only 1 walk in his 2 starts. He was a win here on opening day at Busch Stadium and also contributed a home run and another hit. So he's feeling very good about himself right now. Anxious to see him pitch today.
And John Rodriguez will be in the lineup today. Skip Schumacher will be playing center field with the right-hander Arroyo on the mound. When we come back, Rich Gould with Sidney Ponson right after this.
Welcome back. Sunny, warm, and breezy on a beautiful Easter Sunday at Busch Stadium. Sidney Ponson joins us. What a game you had yesterday, my friend. Well done.
No, thank you very much.
And all the pitches working, it looked like?
Well, not all of them. I threw only a couple curveballs, but I was mixing the pitches in and out, and I wasn't totally satisfied with my outing. But we got to win. That's the biggest thing. Doesn't matter how we do it, though, but we got to win. The guys hit, put some runs early, and I got Yadi keep telling me, just thinking you're up by 1 run only, and that's it, and just concentrate and get people out, and that's what I did.
Well, the fans were satisfied with your outing. How about that reception you got yesterday when you walked away? Those are some great St. Louis fans, aren't they, Sidney?
They are great. I mean, that's the only thing I'm hearing from people that played here with the Cardinals, played against the Cardinals. I hear from these guys in the clubhouse that the fans are really great, so yesterday I couldn't see him the first time.
You gave up an early home run to Adam Dunn, but he hit some hard off a lot of people. How do you calm down after that?
I got the next guy out, and I came in the dugout. Duncan talked to me. I guess it's over. You got Izzy in the dugout. You got Carp, everybody else, Mulder, Marquis, Soup. All of them says, all right, just the first inning, relax. It's, get it over with. Just settle down and get people out, and we'll pull this out for you, and they did.
And then it's nice when your ball club gets right back out there offensively and gets some key hits with 2 outs, especially Yadier Molina.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yadi is good. It's been working a lot with me, helping me out. I mean, calming me down when he needs to. And, for a young catcher, it's outstanding. So it's just going to get better with time.
Any way you can explain to our fans watching today how important it is to have great communication between pitcher and catcher?
Well, it is. I mean, if you're not on the same page, it's going to be a mess out there, Sometimes he wants you to throw a pitch, and you don't want to throw it. And you argue about stuff like that. It's not good. So basically I'm easy too, so he knows these guys better than I do, so whatever he puts down I throw. I told him it's my fault if something happened. It's not you. I'm throwing the pitch. So it's make it easier on me. He blocks all the pitches. He throwing in the dirt, so it make my life way easier than it is.
Sidney Ponson, our pregame guest. I met a guy yesterday from Aruba. I know that's your native land. Tell us a little bit about that country and how you grew up playing baseball there.
Well, Aruba, when I was playing, wasn't that big. We just play on the weekends. Saturday, Sundays, you play 2 games, and it's just leagues. It's like 8-10 teams play each other for the summer and stuff. But Aruba is small. It's surrounded by water, so I grew up basically loving water sports more than I love baseball. Then I grew up. I started getting more in baseball, and it gave me a chance to become a professional baseball player. I took the chance, and here I am now.
See, I don't know that I could ever play ball down there. They've got so many great resorts. I'd just be hanging out on the beach.
Well, I did that after the game. So you play at 10 o'clock in the morning, Saturday and Sunday, so that you have the whole day to be at the beach. So some of those things, I loved play beach volleyball. It keep me entertained, water sports and stuff like that, windsurfing, scuba diving and stuff.
Well, you did great yesterday, my friend. Keep it up. Keep up the good work. The National League is going to enjoy watching Sidney Ponson pitch. Well done.
All right, thank you very much.
Sidney Ponson, our pregame guest. When we return, we're going behind the scenes at Busch Stadium on Easter Sunday. Back after this. This This behind-the-scenes look at Busch Stadium is brought to you by the Carpenters Union. They build St. Louis. There are many fascinating jobs that are a part of building a new stadium, but none are more high-flying than that of Mark Marino of Above All Aerial and Photography. Mark is responsible for recording and documenting the progress of new Busch Stadium with aerial photography from high above for the construction company.
I fly around from either a fixed-wing airplane or a helicopter, taking pictures of commercial property and real estate for developers and builders. And on projects like this, I fly around and photograph the progress of the stadium construction. I circle the stadium about 1,000 to 1,200 feet above the stadium, and I'll take shots looking from all different directions, north, south, east, and west. And then we'll also climb up to a higher altitude, around 4,000 feet above the ground, and we'll look straight down into the stadium. So you can get kind of a perspective of how it lays out that way.
You're flying in an airplane. You're leaning over the side with a camera, giving it this. Is that what you're doing?
Well, I do have another.
There's more to it than that.
I do take another pilot with me for safety. I'll typically fly us to the site, and he or she will take over when we get to the site, and they'll worry about keeping us where we need to go, and I'll worry about lining up the pictures and taking the pictures.
You're probably one of the only guys that have this documented from practically day one, right? You can keep copies of this and show your kids, hey, look what I did.
Correct. I'll always have copies of the history of the stadium going up. My guess is there's probably not very many people in St. Louis that would have that. So that's, like you said, it's a neat thing to show my kids down the road, and their kids as well.
That'd be a great thing for all Cardinals fans to have.
It would be.
This behind-the-scenes look at Busch Stadium has been brought to you by the Carpenters Union. They build St. Louis. Sometimes our behind-the-scenes look is even a prequel. And tonight, join us at the Casino Queen. It's the Fan Show. Kevin Slayton of KFNS will be alongside. We have special guests like Curtis Sanford of the Blues. Might even have an Easter Bunny. The Fan Show tonight live at the Casino Queen. Come on out and join us. It's the Reds and Cardinals coming up on a beautiful day at Busch Stadium.
Cardinals baseball on WB11 brought to you by Budweiser. Bright, crisp, clean, pure. This is Budweiser. This is beer. By Dobbs, St. Louis's #1 choice for tires and auto service. By Chevy, see your Mid-America Chevy dealer today. By Steak and Shake, real steak, steak burgers, and hand-dipped real milkshakes, 24 hours a day. By Toyota, visit your St. Louis area Toyota dealers. By American Furniture and Electronics, St. Louis's headquarters for HD TV. And by Southwest Airlines, with more flights to more places than ever before. Southwest is taking low fares farther. Wayne Hagan along with Rick Corton as we're getting ready for the final game of this homestand for the Cardinals. And with a win today, they will have a winning record at home, which is so important. I don't know too many teams, Rick, that have won a division title by not being real good at home.
Well, you've got to be good at home, no doubt about that. Interesting with this Cardinal team, the bar is set so high for this team. If the Cardinals win today, there's an outside shot if everybody else loses of them being in first place. But it's amazing. We're just expecting so much out of this Redbird team in 06.
And the starting lineups today brought to you by Southwest Airlines. And for the Cincinnati Reds and Jerry Narron, it looks this way. Ryan Friel, who leads the National League in stolen bases. Felipe Lopez batting second. He, too, is a table setter. He has 4 stolen bases. But without Ken Griffey Jr. again today, I'll tell you what, I think the Reds are really missing Ken Griffey Jr. in that lineup.
Well, I think about him missing Sean Casey, who actually got injured yesterday. He had some broken bones in his back for the Pirates. He was in the Williams trade, and it really does make a different Reds lineup. Felipe Lopez, I think he's a dangerous guy at the beginning of that lineup along with Roger Friel. But Mulder is a ground ball guy. We expect a lot of sinkers down in the strike zone.
Our pitching matchup brought to you by Dobbs, St. Louis's #1 choice for tires and auto service. And Mark Mulder was able to launch what is this homestand for the Cardinals. He pitched in the first ever game at the new Busch Stadium and pitched very, very well. It was quite an honor for him. He went 8+ innings. He allowed 2 runs on 7 hits, giving up the first hit in the ballpark to Carlos Lee. But he got the victory. And there's the defense in a whole different look now, as it's brought to you by your Mid-America Chevy dealers. Spezio gets the start on left. Schumacher has played 1 game in center field in the major leagues. And John Rodriguez, we saw an awful lot in left field last year, will begin in right. So a couple of left-handed bats in the lineup today against Bronson Arroyo, and much more on him as we get to the bottom half of this first inning. So the lanky left-hander, 6'6", 215 pounds, 30 years of age, Mark Mulder, in the first pitch, brought to you by your local Toyota dealers, is in there for a called strike one to Ryan Friel. 82 degrees here at game time on a delightful day. That one's hit into the gap, and that one is going to get down, and Schumacher is going to have to sprint, and took a different angle on it. And we told you that he's playing center field, and that is a new position for him and a difficult play, and Friel starts it with a double.
You mentioned the inexperience of Skip Schumacher in center field. He does not take the right angle. Ball scoots by him. Probably not getting a lot of help from John Rodriguez, who's normally not a right fielder either. So you've got really two guys essentially playing out of position today. The outfield defense is going to be an issue for the Cardinals this afternoon. John Rodriguez coming out of an injury, not really being able to throw it 100%. But that ball probably would have been a double anyway. Friel runs well. Cardinals fortunate that ball didn't skip by further and have him end up at third.
Now it's Felipe Lopez. Ball one to him outside. He's hitting a healthy 295.
That ball finds you, doesn't it? You're out of position, it finds you quickly.
Rolling in on the grass at third base. And he takes a strike as he bluffs that bunt. This Reds ball club is tied for the league lead in home runs and steals. They don't help themselves defensively. Dead last in errors, the most in the National League by far. But they're no fun to play. They're a very dangerous group.
This outfield defense for the Cardinals, which also includes Scott Spezio in left field here this afternoon. He had the big home run here yesterday, but again, not the greatest defensive outfielder of all time. So you're going to see probably a lot more communication from the Cardinal dugout to make sure these guys are positioned in the right place, because there's not a lot of experience out there.
Had him reaching for that one. 1 ball and 2 strikes. A fastball, cutter, curve, slider, change. The entire repertoire for Mark Mulder, who is so tall at 6'6" that he pitches down on a plane, and it's very difficult to lift the ball in the air against this southpaw. And he struck him out, and that was huge to not advance that runner another 90 feet over to third.
Well, that's the angle you're talking about. It's our Hardy's hot pitch of the game. Look at the tall, standing tall form of Mark Mulder, and the breaking ball down in the strike zone. Good sharp downward break. Mulder uses his height, as you mentioned. A lot of tall pitchers break down too early and throw the ball flat, and it ends up being on the same plane that the hitter's looking at. And if you've got height, use it, and Mark Mulder does.
Here's an RBI man, Rich Aurelia, playing at first base today. The average is down, but you saw the numbers. 2 home runs and 7 driven in. He always finds a way to hit a ball hard against the Cardinals pitching staff.
You got that right, Wayne. This guy has always scared me with the bat. He had that one great power year with the Giants, and never has really been able to reproduce that, but still is just a dangerous guy. I view him as a great bad ball hitter. If you throw a bad pitch, he's going to capitalize on it. So don't make a mistake with Aurelia.
There's that line drive, but the runner was heading back towards second base, and so Friel cannot score despite that vicious line drive. So 2 hits in the inning. And now Adam Dunn coming up.
I think Ryan Friel's paying a compliment to Scott Rowland. Anything hit his way, he may catch. I better go back to second base. But that ball not even catchable by Scott Rowland, goes into left field, and he has to hold up at third base. Perhaps a little bit of respect shown there by the Reds base runner.
Now Adam Dunn, who homered yesterday, his only 4 hits in this road trip for Cincinnati have all left the yard. Doesn't have a single double or triple. They're all homers. Ball 1 low and away. He is tied with Lance Berkman for the most home runs in the National League with 6.
Brookman, the Houston Astro, off to a fast start. Remember, he didn't get to start the season last year because of that knee surgery. Right off the end of the bat. 1-1.
Mulder likes to work off of the third base side of the rubber, which is helpful as he pitches to right-handed hitters, and throwing sinkers down and away takes away a little bit of his deception against left-handers. But if he gets his good breaking ball to Adam Dunn, he strikes out quite a bit. So if Mulder can make a good pitch, strikeout is what he's thinking right now with a runner on third.
And he's on his way. If he could finish him off. 1-2 the count now. Another thing that has done very well, see the numbers against Mulder, the fact that he induces so many ground ball outs. You have the possibility of a double play with the hitter batting defensively here. Thank goodness he was still in the batter's box. So says his manager, Jerry Narron.
If anybody is going to not swing defensively, even though he should be, it might be Adam Dunn, because this guy takes some rips, and you know, he really doesn't overswing though. I'm impressed with the power that Dunn shows on really a pretty smooth swing. Ball just jumps off his bat. Fastball in. Yachty points to his head. Think. You think a catcher would not have to remind a pitcher to think, but you can't make the assumption that they're doing that. And so every once in a while the catcher will point to his head and say, okay, be smart.
That goes for right-handers and left-handers. Just missed away.
That slider set up by the fastball in. Yachty's got a plan here to try to make Dunn chase that 2-2 pitch. That's really the important pitch of that count, because now Mulder can't be so fine. He's got to come with something nearer the strike zone. Dunn smelling RBIs. He doesn't want to walk, so he's going to double up on the slider, try to get him to chase it.
Fought that one off. In on his hands. So 3-2. What do you think the pitch would be here from Mulder?
I'm going back to back on sliders. That one hung up a little bit. He didn't really finish that one. I think that's the least dangerous pitch, and that's what he's throwing. Finish it.
Great pitch. He gets the second strikeout of the inning.
Mulder actually takes a little more off of this. This is the 2. This is the curveball. It's going to be a little bit more over the top, slightly different break than the slider, and ends up in the dirt. Molina does a great job of blocking pitches. You know, I've noticed he's had a little bit of a struggle this year so far blocking pitches. Very uncharacteristic of Molina, but his form very good right there.
Mulder 5th among active pitchers with his winning percentage of .660. It's moments like this is why he has won so many games. Able to pitch out of jams. Ball 1 to Austin Kearns. When you have your best stuff, I've always said the great pitchers are the ones that could bob and weave when they don't have their best.
In finish innings right here. You can't strike out a guy with a runner on third base and then serve one up to the next hitter. Seen many pitchers that aren't able to do that. Mulder's had such a great career because of his consistency. He doesn't have phenomenal stuff, but he makes a lot of good pitches, and you can't really afford the lapse of just hanging one with 2 outs.
There's your defense employed for this right-handed batting Austin Kearns. And a good poke at that one. 2-1 the count. Crowd settling in on this Easter Sunday, so very pleased that you have picked us to share the day with. And 40,000 of our good friends there. They were out early for batting practice. Both teams taking batting practice today. Cardinals will go on a road trip to Pittsburgh for 3 days. Jason Marquis will get the start tomorrow. Off-speed pitch and topped right into the ground. Well, we talked about what he was going to throw to Adam Dunn, the right-handed batting Austin Kearns. What's the feeling?
I think he's going to throw a sinker down and away. He's got 2-2. He's already shown him a couple of breaking balls. And not sure what that is, but Viotti's calling for it in the dirt. Those pump signs were for the throw over to first base. 2-2. George Kissel's great comment about 2-2 is you don't want it to go 3-2. And 2-2 is the count. You want to make something happen. As 3-2, you become a little more defensive as a pitcher. Viotti says, think, keep it down, slider.
Crowd already well into this game in the top of the first. And the runner will be going now at first base.
The difference between a major league pitcher and a AAA pitcher is the ability to throw an off-speed pitch in this situation. We'll see if Mulder comes with that curveball again.
And a hot shot to left. And it's 1-0 Cincinnati as Kearns picks up his 10th run driven in.
And that could be the difference between throwing that curveball on a 2-2 count and a 3-2 count. You're more interested in just getting that ball over the plate. And Mulder doesn't quite snap that one off. It just sits up about belt high. Molina's saying, get it down, down, down. The target's there, but the finish is much higher. And Austin Kearns, his hands are back. He's trying to protect with 2 strikes and able to line the ball to left.
Now it's Edwin Encarnacion, no relation to Juan Encarnacion. Another right-handed batter against Mark Mulder. Cincinnati doing what they did yesterday, taking an initial lead in the top of the first inning by the same score. Cardinals prevailing yesterday. Sidney Ponson, his first win as a Cardinal, 9-3 your final. Two on and 2 out. Ball 1.
There's our winning pitcher in yesterday's ball game, Sidney Ponson. Very quality start, just 2 runs. Good control, just 1 walk. The Cardinal defense playing very deep, probably too deep to be able to throw anybody out at home. If Encarnacion's able to get a base hit, one of the marked differences in the game over the past 10 years is the outfielders playing so much deeper. Tony likes his guys playing deeper, but not really going to be in position to make a play at the plate. Probably the strongest arm belongs to Schumacher in center of those 3.
Got that fastball by him. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
With power becoming more of an issue in this game, the Cardinals are really playing at a no doubles defense, which you used to relegate to the 7th, 8th, and 9th innings.
That's a whole different ball game.
Chatted with Andy Van Slyke yesterday after the Tigers game, where I believe they lost in Cleveland yesterday. And he was talking about the outfield play that he sees in the American League, and many of the players that he has really have no idea where to position themselves to throw somebody out.
So another 3-2 pitch for Mulder, who's thrown a lot of pitches in the inning. That was pitch number 29, so it's going to take at least 30 to finish the frame. Dave McKay, who works with the outfielders here, one of those individuals who talks about the difference of baseball today. They used to play the outfielders in to try to take away that little dunker that would really start a tremendous rally for the offense. But boy, do they play back now, as evidenced by that particular camera shot. That's a play for Miles. He's going to have to fight the sun a little bit, but he'll make the catch. And Mulder, through 30 pitches, gave up just 1 run and left a pair. We go to the bottom of the first in St. Louis. Reds 1, Cardinals coming up. Well, another first. That may be the longest top of the first so far in the new Busch Stadium. 30 pitches thrown. On pace for 270 pitches for Mark Mulder today. No, that won't happen. There's your starting lineup, brought to you by Southwest Airlines, taking low fares farther. Miles back in the lineup today, betting in that number 2 spot. John Rodriguez positioned in that number 5 spot behind Roland. And then Scott Spiezio, a hero yesterday with that pinch hit home run, his 4th career. And now it's Bronson Arroyo to take on David Eckstein. Dobbs brings you our pitchy matchup. David Eckstein, Aaron Miles, and Albert Pujols here in the first inning. 1-0 in favor of the Reds. And that's the answer by David Eckstein. Another base hit in this homestand.
This is what you want out of your leadoff hitter. Contact, finding holes. Beautiful swing, head on the ball, takes the ball the other way, follows it all the way. The sinker from Arroyo, he's the kind of guy, kind of a slinger, that just tries to keep the ball down in the strike zone and get ground balls. And here's a guy, Aaron Miles, who's done nothing but impress me since he's been in a Cardinal uniform.
Gritty little sword, isn't he?
Gritty's a good word for him. I'm not sure he's at the A league yet in terms of how he plays defensively. I think his arm's a little short, and he's making the plays and making the normal plays. But in terms of what he does with the bat, he's very pesky, and I think he fits in very well in the 2 spot.
A hit and run, and that'll get the job done, getting that runner to second base. As Arroyo, who feels his position very well, slipped coming down onto that grass, but got the out at first. And that hit and run putting the tying run at second base for you-know-who, Mr. Pujols. Defensively for the Reds is brought to you by Chevy. See your Mid-America Chevy dealers. Dunn is probably the question mark in left field. Probably more suited to play first base. And then David Ross, the former Pirate and Dodger, is behind the plate today. Catching Arroyo, who is 0-2 lifetime against the Cardinals. He's 29 years of age. The former Boston Red Sox hurler, traded for Willie Mopena. There's that breaking ball, and he'll drop down sidearm, and he'll flip a little frisbee up there, and then a little bigger break as well. Very tough on right-handers.
Well, those frisbees sometimes work and sometimes end up like boomerangs, because you throw them from the side and they end up coming right back at you. Julian Tavares was the guy that used to do that in the Cardinal uniform, and occasionally it becomes nasty, and occasionally the pitch flattens out, and when it does flatten out, it's very hittable.
Albert reaches for that one and fouls it out of play. Albert with his 5th home run yesterday, tied with Scott Rowland for the most RBIs on the team with 12. And just a couple of points under the 300 mark. Pujols a good swing at that one and fouls it out of play. Bronson Arroyo looks like he could come right off of the beach in Southern California, but he actually hails from Key West, Florida.
Surfs up.
Definitely has that Southern California look. Fastball evens it at 2-2.
So many players from that area playing baseball at the professional level. A lot of young players get seen because they play all year round in Southern California. A lot of the players you play with as you come up in the minor leagues hail from there, and they all try to get you to move there.
It's a big advantage. I remember Larry Walker, who grew up just outside Vancouver, British Columbia, said that they might play 18 high school games if they were fortunate, because of the weather not being very conducive for playing. 3-2. We've had a few 3-2 counts in this first inning, both the top end and now the bottom.
Well, with first base open, Arroyo is not going to give in to Albert Pujols, I would not imagine. Albert, very selective, patient hitter.
And he threw him a breaking ball and walked it. Pretty good numbers for Roland. A .317 average, a couple of home runs, and 12 driven home. 1-0 Cincinnati. We're in the bottom of the first.
Arroyo goes from one poison to another. Scott Rowland swinging the bat very well. He was very careful with Albert with first base open. He wasn't going to just lay one in there, give in to him, let him put the ball in play. He was going to make him hit his pitch right off the plate. Albert's not biting, but now he's got to face Scott Rowland. And now he's got to make a perfect pitch. He's got to try to get a double play out of Rowland with that hard sinker that he throws. And Rowland's task is to try to elevate it, get the ball into a gap.
And a little cat and mouse at the part of the hitter and the pitcher. Rowland trying to break that rhythm of Arroyo.
Pretty good hack right there. That's what's impressed me so much about Scott since he came out of spring training. The spring training swing that I saw was not quite as emphatic as that swing was right there. It seemed like he was feeling for it just a tad, and seen a lot more aggressiveness at the plate from Scott Rowland.
Next time was dancing off at second base. They got the attention of Arroyo and that second baseman you see there, Brandon Phillips. Way outside.
Arroyo is not sharp with his breaking ball. He's really trying to feel for it. He's either leaving it on the inside part of the plate to right-handers and it's just spinning, or he's over breaking it and it's going off the plate to the outside corner for right-handers. Does not have the control of that breaking ball in the strike zone as of yet.
3-2.
He's going to keep throwing it.
Mulder with 30 pitches to finish off the top of this first inning. 17 pitches for Arroyo. That one is hammered into the corner, but foul.
It's like an Easter egg hunt here at Busch Stadium.
Did you ever do the Easter egg hunt and forget where you put them?
I think I have. I think I haven't had that happen.
Find him in July.
I remember winning an Easter egg hunt when I was 10 years old. I was so excited about that. I won a Mary Poppins album, my first music collection item. How about that?
Boy,
the
that
soundtrack to Mary Poppins.
64, 65,
would you like,
somewhere around there.
Would you like to borrow it, Wayne?
No. We've got the DVD. And out on strikes is Rowland, and there are 2 outs. So a big pitch made by Arroyo, and now John Rodriguez coming up.
If there's any doubt whether Arroyo likes his breaking ball, he's dispelled that rumor. He's thrown a ton of them here in the first inning. Clearly his out pitch, and he's had to go to it a lot because he's had a lot of pitches under stress. Pitching coaches will talk about that. Pitches under stress. It's not how many pitches that you throw in a game. It's how many do you have to throw where you're throwing it 100% with pressure and runners aboard. And certainly a lot of pressure in this first inning for both pitchers.
John Rodriguez, a couple of hits earlier this week in a ball game, getting the start today in right. Runners at first and second with 2 outs. Got that fastball over.
A lot of our viewers have sent us emails asking why John Rodriguez is not playing more. Really, he's still dealing with running into a wall. He actually was bracing himself going into a wall in spring training, and he's had a nagging problem in the back of his shoulder, in his throwing shoulder. He can swing, but throwing a baseball is problematic.
Fouled out of play. Did that the final couple of games. I think it was back-to-back games against the New York Mets and went in pursuit of a baseball down the left field line. I believe that was the same game that Albert Pujols hit 3 home runs. They need a healthy John Rodriguez, and in particular from the left side. They need some power from the left side on this ball club.
Telling me before the game that he really never got a full diagnosis of exactly even what went wrong with his shoulder. Just kind of jammed. And speaking of shoulders, Jim Edmonds dealing with his shoulder problem, had a cortisone shot this weekend, and he's got the day off, as does the rest of the Cardinals outfield. Juan Encarnacion struggling in right field. So Taguchi not swinging the bat real well, so kind of got the B squad out there in the outfield today, and Rodriguez gets a shot, sore shoulder and all.
And with Tony La Russa, Sundays are oftentimes the games where these guys get to play. That's hammered to right. That's going to tie it and may give the Cardinals the lead. In to score is Eckstein as Kearns tries to get it back in. Coming home is Pujols. He will score on a triple by John Rodriguez. Shoulder sore or healthy. The kid could swing a bat.
And he knows how to make things happen too. He's just kind of an electric player and a gamer. Drives the ball down in the right field corner, slips as he's going around first base. I thought he was going to take a header, but he ran very hard to second base, saw that the throw from Lopez was going home, and alertly ends up at third.
7 runs scored yesterday with 2 men out. The Cardinals tallied 2 runs with 2 men out here in the first inning today. Disheartening for Cincinnati.
What a great shot that was, at the communication that happens when guys are running on the bases. You've got the next hitter telling Albert where to slide. You've got Oquendo sending Pujols and then sending Rodriguez to third.
Lifted in the air to slightly left center. Ryan Friel is there. He'll put it away, but the Cardinals scored 2 runs on a couple of hits. Left a man. Communication, that's all part of baseball. As Eckstein scores and Albert right behind him. We go to the second. 2-1 Redbirds. Remember the Prime Seat Club. Tickets posted by season ticket holders. Available 24 hours at STLCardinals.com. You can also call the Cardinals 314-345-9000. Operators standing by 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. daily. So Mulder with the lead now goes to work in the second inning, trying to cut down on his number of pitches. He's facing Brandon Phillips. Right back to him, and he's a very alert fielder. 1 out. Took 2 pitches to get that out. Our trivia today brought to you by Schnucks. What is the major league record for the most combined pitches in a regular season game? I know that both managers would answer it this way. Too many.
And they would both say, we don't want to break it.
I'll be anxious to see
most
the answer.
Pitches in a 9-inning game. Well, let's guess. Most pitches combined, 9-inning game. Is that what you're telling me?
I don't have time for that. Way too much work.
431.
432. Anything above it,
Okay.
we'll go to dinner. On you.
Okay. Joe Patini with a stopwatch. Eyeballing the left-hander Mulder.
Ross drives it to right off the end of the bat, and he'll get a base hit. And that'll be hit number 4 in this game for the Cincinnati Reds. Ross hitting a grand slam earlier in this season with his new ball club. Now look out for this guy, Bronson Arroyo. He's already hit 2 home runs against the Cubs. In fact, he's the only pitcher in Major League history to homer and earn a victory in the first 2 starts of a season. The only Major League pitcher to ever do it. Handle with care.
Babe Ruth never did that.
No, sir.
He's actually got the second highest batting average of the starting pitchers in this game, since Mulder's hitting .600 on the season. He's just hitting a paltry .500. Kind of goes to show that you can't get too wrapped up or flipped out about statistics early in a season.
Mulder, good idea to throw over to first base, and tipping it off at home was Arroyo, who had not had a hit since 2001, and homers in each of the first 2 starts. He was hitting .073 at the start of the season for his career. Fouled that bunt try. 0-2.
Arroyo most likely going to be bunting again with 2 strikes, as Patini has the stopwatch or the pitch counter on Mark Mulder. Looks like he's got both working at the same time, counting number of pitches and perhaps trying to determine how long it takes Mulder to deliver the pitch to the plate. Base running has become such a science that they know if a pitcher is too slow to the plate. Left-handers a little bit different, because left-handers can see the runner right in front of them. But if the pitcher is too slow delivering it to the plate, the base runner's got an advantage, clearly.
Ross, the catcher, is the runner at first. And he is going to be out by way of that bunt going into foul ground. So that'll be the 3rd strikeout of the game for Mulder. Arroyo did not help his own cause. Today's National League leaderboard is brought to you by Dairy Queen. DQ, something different. Well, that's no surprise, although the Mets still a question mark pitching-wise. They have had some pretty good efforts.
Sure
Floyd Bannister's son, who's pitched very well for them. In fact, I think he's due to start today for the Mets, who were leading early in that game against Milwaukee 2-0. Pedro Martinez.
Tom Glavine in that rotation.
11 strikeouts the other day in his victory. A strike to Ryan Friel.
Still an outside shot at being a 300-game winner if he can continue to pitch for 2 or 3 more years, which really is the cutoff for Hall of Fame. I can't imagine if you win 300 games you're not a Hall of Famer.
Still can't understand Tommy Lasorda, as general manager of the Dodgers, trading him away. 1 ball, 1 strike for Delino DeShields. And Pedro went to Montreal, and he was tough. And he was great in Boston. Good in New York. That team had its 7-game winning streak end yesterday. And they're going to be tough to deal with. Friel with that double into right center field his first time up.
I think it's possible that the Braves may not be the Eastern Division champions for the first time in, was it 14 years that they've been the
14 straight years
division champions?
They finally had a starting pitcher get a win with John Smoltz. They had not had a winning pitcher be a starter until yesterday. Strike 3 called, so he gets the final 2 men by way of strikeout. He has 4 in the game, and we go to the bottom of the 2nd on a sunny Easter Sunday. Here in St. Louis, it's 2-1 Cardinals.
Today's interactive question of the game brought to you by First Bank. All you need to do is ask your question about today's game at WB11TV.com. You type in your question. We're going to select one in the 5th inning, and if we select your question, you'll receive a $100 First Bank check card. First Bank, make someday today with a home equity loan.
Yadier Molina leads it off. He's under the Mendoza line, hitting 194. That's a lot better than it was a year ago. He got out of the blocks very slowly. Encarnacion has plenty of time. Throws a little high, but he gets the out of Molina. And maybe these two pitchers will settle in now.
Well, you mentioned they both trying to have quick pitch innings. You know, that's easy to say you want to do that, but the problem is there's a guy standing there with a bat in your hand. You can't just throw the ball down the middle and hope that he hits the ball on the ground. You still got to make good pitches. A lot of times a guy, if he starts to think too much like that, ends up getting pounded around a bit. So you still have to stay sharp. You still have to make your good pitches. Can't just throw it over because they'll beat on it.
Skip Schumacher batting in the number 8 spot ahead of Mulder. 1 ball, 1 strike. Arroyo had the benefit of growing up in Key West, Florida. His backyard had not only a pitching mound but a batting cage. No wonder he can hit a little bit. But he is lanky. He is very thin. 6'5", 190. But a pitcher of distinction. He was the International League MVP back in 2003 for Pawtucket. Threw a perfect game that year. A perfect game. He is behind 3-1 on Schumacher.
We talked about Arroyo being a slinger. There really is not much of a follow-through. Stiff back leg, lands on the stiff leg and just kind of slings the ball from almost a stand-up position. There's not a lot of leg drive. There's not a lot of push towards home at the end of his motion.
That just went foul in front of the bag.
Arroyo begins fairly normally. He's eyeing the target, picks up his front leg, very straight leg kick, foot almost as high as his top of the bill of his hat, actually higher, but when he lands, pretty stiff also. Not a lot of, I guess you used to call it bending your back, although pitching coaches won't use that terminology now, but he doesn't really finish pitches the way most pitchers do.
And he issues a walk to Skip Schumacher. Well, less than a handful of fresh episodes. One of television's most endearing series. Don't miss the all-new 7th Heaven. That's Monday at 7, followed by Everwood at 8 on WB 11. This is where Tony La Russa, if he likes the pitcher handling the bat, might put a hit and run on instead of a bunt.
You don't bunt with your power hitters.
That's true.
Although
he did.
Cincinnati chose to do that with Arroyo. So.
Yeah, he did smoke that ball for that home run. Had a couple of extra base hits and the home run in the home opener on Monday. Mulder's just a natural athlete. I mean, just a natural. I think he's like a 3 handicap in golf. The bowler, he's competitive. He's always been competitive. 2 balls and no strikes.
So odd to watch Mulder last year struggle with the bat. Really did not hit well in his first year in a Cardinal uniform, but you'd watch him in batting practice and you'd say, well, I don't understand why, because he would hit line drives all over the place. Looked like he has a smooth swing. He's pretty balanced at the plate. Big guy, great athlete, as you say. So just not sure why he wasn't able to produce results. Just kind of, I guess, goes to show how tough hitting at the big league level is.
Grew up about 30 minutes from Chicago and South Holland, Illinois. That one rifled foul past Jose Oquendo. Let's pause for station identification. WB 11 KPLR St. Louis. Even Jose Oquendo, who could play a lot of different positions as we know, somewhat defenseless over there without a glove. That ball went rocketing by him.
Mulder a little tardy on that one.
Almost had that ball come up and hit him outside of that batter's box. It's 2-2 as Mulder couldn't get that bunt down. He grew up a White Sox fan, and I know he would have loved to have seen the Cardinals play the White Sox in the World Series. His dad used to take him to the games at the old Comiskey.
Schumacher runs well here. I just as soon send him, let Mulder swing the bat. Don't bunt with 2 strikes. Let him swing and send Schumacher.
They're thinking along those same lines. They were checking Schumacher with a toss to first.
That throw over to first usually comes as a signal from the bench via the catcher to the pitcher. A lot of times they're looking to see if the hitter will give away whether he's going to bunt or not. Cardinals are very practiced at pretending to bunt even when they're not going to it. They're taught that you always show bunt even if you're not going to in this situation, which Mulder is doing now. I still guessing he's swinging.
Cardinals leading 2-1. And the third throw over to first base. Arroyo, who will pitch coming down sidearm, certainly utilizes that as a quick toss to first base. Very accurate. Missing high and away to 3-2 now is the count. Those are some anxious starting pitchers. Taking a look at this at bat by Mark Mulder. Jason Marquis, the best hitter of the bunch, but Mulder out of the gates much quicker. Swing and a miss, and Mulder went right back into the catcher, and I think it bothered David Ross that he could not throw out Schumacher because he is so big and he got out of that batter's box so slow.
Well, he looked initially for an appeal from the umpire that maybe Mulder was in his way because he does fall forward just a little bit, but just a double clutch, really nothing to do with Mulder because he does duck and stay out of the way. Still a close play at second base, but Ross kind of double clutched on that ball, and that's all you need. That 0.2 of a second is the difference between an out or safe at the major league level on a stolen base.
The next time would like to make it a difference on the scoreboard to drive in another 2-out run. Eckstein with a solid smash to right his first time. What's on Tap is brought to you by Bud Light. Refreshingly smooth Bud Light, always worth it. Dan McLaughlin, our good buddy, our good friend, the left-hander Al Rabowski, tomorrow night at 5:30 on Fox Sports Net. 2-1 the count. That'll be 3 games at Pittsburgh and back home Friday, Saturday, and Sunday against the Cubs. And by the way, there are some seats available, standing room only, as well as some seats through the Prime Seat Club. 3-1.
David Eckstein's leadoff hit in the first to right field will not be enough to score Schumacher from second base, as the right fielder Kearns, playing very shallow, playing him fairly deep. Dunn is in left field,
and he walked it. I was anxious to see if David Eckstein could hit a ball in the gap at the right center field and just see how far he could run with Kearns playing as shallow as he was. David at first base, and that man Aaron Miles trying to bring in 1 run minimum with runners at first and second and 2 outs. Breaking ball, strike.
We talked about the importance yesterday of what a team does with runners in scoring position and what they do with 2 outs, and Miles has an opportunity here, batting over 300 on the year, to do some damage.
That one got away from Ross, and both runners move up. That'll be a wild pitch. So the steal in the inning, and now a wild pitch and 2 walks, and the Cardinals trying to take full advantage.
Ball looked like it actually hits the front of the plate and takes a little higher hop than Ross was expecting. Hit him high on the chest. Ball rolls away. Schumacher very alert, as was Eckstein. Now even more of an opportunity for Aaron Miles, as the defense plays him straight up.
1 ball, 1 strike to Miles. Makes it 2-1 on the count, so he keeps falling behind. Off the hands to the first baseman, and they will get the out as Aurelia feeds Arroyo. Well, the Cardinals could take advantage of the couple of walks, the stolen base. Lead it 2-1. And the transaction of the week brought to you by Blumenfeld, Kaplan, and Sandweiss, the business community's source for legal expertise. David Wells placed on the disabled list. Underway in the top of the third, 2-1 ball game. Mulder working against Felipe Lopez, a man he fanned his first time up. He has been able to register 4 strikeouts, hasn't walked a man. Neither pitcher has been at the top of his game in this one.
Mentioned those are the games you've got to gut out and find a way to win. You're not going to have your best stuff every time out. Mark Mulder, I think, is a guy poised to maybe be a 20-game winner this year. I know it's early to be talking about that, but I think Mulder is now 1 year into the league, a little more comfortable with his surroundings. I think a lot of that depends on the run support you get. Chris Carpenter hasn't gotten a lot of that this year, and that's why he's not 3-0. But if Mulder gets run support, I think he could be the next Cardinal 20-game winner.
Easy play for Albert. He takes care of the out, and Rich Gould has a very special guest for you.
You bet, guys. Next door in the radio booth, Mr. Mike Shannon, who's got a great day coming up. It's early this year. The day of the race is a little early this year, Mike?
Yeah, that's right. It's going to be next Saturday, and we have some spots open because it's so early this year. And all they have to do is call at CBC High School, and that number is 314-985-6094, and we'll have a lot of fun. You could win $1 million.
Is that right? I can.
Yeah, you can. Come on over.
I'm going to
go out and pick out the horses, and you win $1 million.
How many years you been doing this for CBC?
Oh, it's been a few years. That's awesome.
Silence at the ballpark. Mike Shannon, who of course attended CBC and has done a great job with the golf tournament that he initially began, helping CBC, and now Night at the Races, and that is quite a night. And Jim Jackson, on the left part of your screen, there is no finer producer engineer in the game of baseball than that man right there. Period. There's a shot past the third baseman Scott Rowland by Aurelia, and Aurelia will have an easy double. So he is 2 for 2.
We talked about the way he hits Cardinal pitching and always has. Another bullet past Scott Rowland. One went to his left. This one goes to his right. Both balls hit on the nose, really testing the reflexes of Rowland, which are, as always, good, but not good enough. As Aurelia really squaring the ball well on the bat and seeing the ball well against the Cardinal starter Mulder.
Well, we get this confrontation again. Adam Dunn and Mark Mulder. The last time Dunn struck out.
You'd like to have the confrontation with Adam Dunn with nobody on base. That would be preferable, because if he lays into one, which he's obviously capable of doing with his home run production, you've got a Cincinnati lead instead of just a solo home run. And it's always the key when you're playing against a team that's got a prolific power hitter, is make them hit with the bases empty. Easier said than done.
Couldn't get him to fish after that one. So he starts behind 2 balls, no strikes to Dunn. And the outfield has to play so deep with Dunn up there. Aurelia, who does not have great speed, could score easily on a base hit to the outfield.
We go back to that total pitches under stress stat we've talked about earlier. Mulder throwing a few more under stress here with a tying run at second base, and Adam Dunn at the plate. get a little tighter, you get a little more tense, you try to be a little more exact. Mentally, you're concentrating at maybe a little bit deeper level. It'll wear you out if you have to throw too many like that.
Can wear out your defense too. Crack foul.
That's a great point, Wayne. There's stress on every outfielder right now who's thinking, I want to play deep. They're telling me to play deep, but if I get a one-hopper here, I've got to throw a good, perfect throw. I've got to be ready to make that throw, hit the cutoff man, and perhaps keep Aruba from scoring from second base.
And the 2-2 pitch from Mulder. Just low.
Signs from Molina.
Middle number, that's a fair ball, and tags him out. That's about as easy a play as any defender can have. Pounced upon it, did Yadier Molina, and got the out.
Well, this is smart work by Molina. The ball right in front of the plate. Molina tries to get it to make sure it's still fair. And why throw the ball to first? Well, just tag the guy. He's right there. That ball, you know, just not carrying the left field.
It's not carrying but 3 or 4 inches in front of the plate. Wow, what a great out with that runner at second base. The runner has to hold at second.
Very alert.
2 unassisted.
You know, Molina does not impress you when you see him as a guy who'd be a pouncer, but he is. He's very quick, a lot quicker than you might think. Not fast.
This guy the last time was tough. Austin Kearns, he came up with the base hit to make it 1-0 Cincinnati. He did that with 2 outs at the top of the first inning. How good do you think Kearns will be?
The jury's still out on him. I think he's shown flashes of brilliance, and then he kind of went into a tailspin where he just disappeared. You know, it's really hard to say with young players. Certainly has the tools.
A ball and a strike.
Certainly wouldn't be the first player in baseball to just come up and be a kind of a flashy player with a lot of hype, but that doesn't quite materialize.
That strike zone is shrinking.
Well, both pitchers have not shown any command of the strike zone in the first couple of innings. And home plate umpire Joe Brickman saying, well, if you're not going to throw him over the plate, I'm not going to give him to you.
Three and 1. Brickman, a longtime American League umpire, and then when all the umpires came under the Major League umbrella, talked about retiring 2 years ago. Roland has this one. Has to wait for that runner to go by, and he'll throw him out. So Kearns this time did not do the damage against Mulder, and he carries a 2-1 lead as we go to the bottom of the third under the watchful eye of the Arch. Bank of America and the Cardinals teaming up to help kids participate in baseball from now until April 29th. Every Bank of America banking center in St. Louis will be collecting new or gently used baseball gloves for kids in the Redbird Rookies program. So check that out as Albert Pujols is leading off the third inning with the Cardinals in front 2-1. Bronson Arroyo on the mound.
Visited with Albert's son before he went off to the chapel service this morning. It is Easter, of course, and many of these players, both on the visiting team and the home team, will have a chance to go to a non-denominational service, which really happens throughout the game of baseball. People ask a lot, Wayne, about the travel that these guys go through, but that's an important part of their life. It certainly is with Albert, and many of the players and coaches and and even the umpires are invited to chapel services.
Tough play for the third baseman Encarnacion, retreating, but he'll get the out. Now, that baseball chapel has provided such a great service for the Major League Baseball personnel, because so often they miss Sunday with their family.
And the one thing you tend to forget, not just the travel, but the fact that a lot of these guys are still very young. Of course, as you get older, you start to reanalyze what the word young means, but in many cases you're talking about 23, 24, 25-year-old young men just trying to find their way, and just to have a little stability in their life. These guys really benefit from being able to think about something outside of baseball.
Scott Rowland, the hitter now. 1 ball and no strikes.
And Albert's certainly a very solid citizen. These guys also get involved in a lot of community things. Really all the Cardinal players do. Cardinal Care is very active in community service. So that what we see on the field is not always the whole life of these players.
One of the nice glimpses that we always get as you take a look at the National League scoreboard, brought to you by Waterway. Guests appearing on Cardinal Baseball receive a gift certificate to the Waterway Clean Car Club, as that ground ball is ticketed for the second baseman Phillips. And there are 2 ground ball outs here in the 3rd inning, off the bats of Pujols and Rowland, and John Rodriguez coming in. Definitely a better way to buy, a better way to clean. Join that club member club, the one I like, right out there in Chesterfield. They have turned the lights on as the clouds continue to build. Some pretty good sized thunderheads around the St. Louis region.
Be interesting to see with the storm coming in, and looking at some of the flags atop the stadium here at Busch Stadium, trying to determine some of the weather patterns that and how those storms might affect the flight of the ball. The home team doesn't even know the answer to those questions yet. It's really a learning experience for the Cardinals. But when the winds shift, how will the ball carry? Will pitchers have to pitch a little differently? Will outfielders maybe pinch in the gaps a little more?
Rodriguez got underneath that one, and Ryan Friel will look up into that sky and put it away. 1, 2, 3 go the Redbirds. We play through 3, and that was the swiftest of the 3. We go to the 4th, 2-1 Redbirds. This portion of Cardinal Baseball on WB11 brought to you by Chevy Fresh Mex. We are the fajita and margarita experts. By your St. Louis Lexus dealer, invite you to test drive a Lexus today. By U.S. Cellular, we connect with you. And by Hardee's, home of the 100% Angus beef thick burger. Happy Easter to you. Crystal Clark, Nick Cooper here along with family. They're taking in the Cardinals and the Cincinnati Reds, with the Cardinals leading by the narrowest of margins, 2-1. As you see, Edwin Encarnacion took a big cut at that first serve from Mark Mulder. Then he took a lot off and had him way out in front, 0-2. Cardinals have 2 runs on just 2 hits. The Reds 1 run on 5 hits. Ball 1.
Patrick Eberle is here at the ballpark today, celebrating his 16th birthday.
No better place to be. I hope he drove. In the hole for Eckstein. He's got enough arm. 1 away. You know, he gets a little grief from those other players. Remember the nickname? Just enough.
He's looking like he's celebrating his 16th birthday here at the ballpark. Just plays this game like a little kid. Very unpretentious is the way I would describe David Eckstein. Very respectful when you chat with him. Very gracious.
Youthful exuberance.
What you don't want to do is underestimate him, because he's also very competitive. He's all smiles, very boyish, but he's also not afraid to tell you what he thinks about a certain situation too. He's also very competitive, got some leadership kind of traits to him that kind of belie the way he looks. He is not a meek individual.
That's off Mulder's leg. He'll recover, feel the sting in a minute as he gets the out at first. That one did nail him. And the trainer's going to come out and check on him, Barry Weinberg.
It looks like he's holding his right knee as that one hopper does not have a chance to get the glove in the way. His glove just a tad late, limps over to the ball actually, and the ball wasn't hit that hard, but it looked like it hit him right in that spot on the inside part of the knee. And anybody that's had a ball hit off that part of their knee knows it hurts.
Comparison of the game brought to you by Esurance. Get some relief from high auto insurance prices. Quote and compare instantly at esurance.com. Number's pretty close in many ways, except for that earned run average. And they've hit better away from St. Louis. That one's going to dunk in for a hit off the end of the bat. So a 2-out single by David Ross, his second such hit to right field. Well, we know that this just happened and Mulder continues to pitch. He'll get that last out. That's when it becomes important. What do you do in the dugout to make sure that that doesn't continue on?
Well, I would suspect he would try not to sit for very long. He'd probably try to move around a little more than he would normally do between innings. Most pitchers have a routine they'll go through while their team's at bat.
He'll get the final out as Arroyo hit it right back to him. A hit for Cincinnati. We go to the bottom of the fourth on this Easter Sunday. Cardinals 2, Reds 1. We'll be back in just a moment. When the Cardinals score big, so do you. If your St. Louis Cardinals score 6 runs or more in today's game, you get a 20-ounce cup of gourmet Bengal Traders coffee to any on the run at Mobile tomorrow for only 25 cents. Good way to start the week. All right, we talked about this earlier. Schnook's trivia. What is the major league record for the most combined pitches in a 9-inning major league game since 1987? Rick guessed 431. I guess 432. Only because you said 431 and won one higher. Can you imagine that?
You got that exactly right.
Yeah, but you know why I guessed it. Only because I had to go one higher than you. That was all.
How did you do that? You are a lot smarter than I thought, Wayne Hagan.
Which was very little to begin with.
That is unbelievable. That's not like a yes/no question. That's a concrete number. I'm impressed. You looked that up, didn't you?
No, sir. I told you I didn't have time. Scott Spezio flied to center his first time up. Cardinals holding on to a 2-1 lead. Two balls and a strike. Would really be scary if we knew the least amount of pitches thrown in a game. And that I have no guess.
Don't even.
I just wish I'd been there.
Nice visit from one of the Cardinal owners, Drew Bauer. We talked about him yesterday, being in the ballpark in the upper right field seats, and today he's up in the booth with us. He's getting the feel of the brand new stadium here, as well as I know a lot of the fans trying to walk around, soak it all in, see all places of the stadium, become familiar with it, because this will be the home of the Cardinals for many years to come.
And how many world championships, how many banners will they be able to put up here at this ballpark over the next 20 years? A beautiful sight. I love the way that they faced home plate to center field to show us that downtown skyline and the arch. Spezio out on strikes. Magnificent. Going to be about 630 feet high, but you can sneak a little peek at the old ball game. That is definitely a bird's eye view.
Hi, folks.
Molina targeting this one down the right field line, and he will have a single. Good play by Kearns to get over there very quickly to the line. That's the Cardinals' first hit since the first inning. and only their third in the game. But Kern's showing his athleticism in right field.
That may get Molina over the Mendoza line that you talked about earlier. Nice play by Kearns, getting his body in front of that ball, keeping Molina from going to second base. The Mendoza line, many of our viewers emailing us, would be Mario Mendoza, would it not? Who is a light-hitting infielder who always was around that 200 level, and that's where the Mendoza line came from.
It sounded so much better than just the Smith or Brown line.
Yeah, not really the way you want to be remembered in this game.
No. But everybody who has played this game knows what the Mendoza line means. 200 or less. Schumacher walked his first time at a stolen base. He's batting with 1 out and a runner at first. In the air to center field. Ball had pretty good carry, but Friel has it for the second out. Low-scoring game. Remember that Friday night game was 1-0. That pitcher's duel between Aaron Harang and Chris Carpenter. And Encarnacion will make Mulder run a little bit. We've played 4 now on this Sunday with the score 2-1. Cardinals leading the Cincinnati Reds.
Welcome back. If you just joined us, you missed all the runs. Where were you? 2-1 Cardinals. All the scoring in the first inning. To the top of the 5th we go. Wayne and Rick, something I noticed during batting practice, the wind was really blowing out to left field and the ball was jumping. Now since then the winds have calmed down, even though a lot of clouds have moved into the area. I think it's going to take some time before we deduce how this wind is going to affect the flight of the baseball. We've only seen it a week. We're still trying to figure out if this is a hitter's park, a pitcher's park, or what we all hope right down the middle, you know, guys?
That's exactly what we're hoping for, right down the middle. A very, very good assessment on the part of Rich Gould. And Rick, I remember when they opened up the ballpark at San Francisco, it took a long time for the Giants to get acclimated. And I remember Mike Krukow, a good friend of ours, a broadcaster now, a 20-game winner at one time in his career, actually walked out to the mound at what was then SBC Ballpark. It's had 3 different names since, of course, and he stood up there and he lit a match and wanted to see that ferocious wind that comes in off the Pacific all the time as this one is pushed to the right side. Nice backhanded effort by Miles to get the out. And that was no easy task with Ryan Friel running up that first base line. So a very good defense to start things here in the 5th inning for Aaron Miles behind Mulder. That's going to be our defensive play of the game.
We've seen 2 good plays at second base this weekend. Hector Luna made a play very similar. Aaron Miles makes the play up the middle. Good strong throw to get Friel, and that's our defensive play of the game, brought to you by Steak and Shake.
Lopez will get a base hit as he hit that one off the end of the bat, and falling down was Rodriguez. And now there's a throw to second base, and it's going to hit that turf and slow it down. And a good hustle on the part of Lopez as he had that play in front of him and saw Rodriguez cause a little divot out there in right field and slip and fall down to a knee.
Well, Lopez knows that Rodriguez is not throwing well. That's something they've talked about. So he's thinking, if I've got a chance to go to second, maybe I'll try to sneak by. As Rodriguez falls, Rodriguez takes it, or Lopez takes advantage of it. Rodriguez slips and falls, gets his feet caught out from under him, and he cannot make that strong throw from that position with the sore shoulder. He even said, I'm not sure what's going to happen when I try to air out a throw today. I haven't really tested it. So a little bit of a mystery even to John Rodriguez.
So the Cardinals, who are very good defensively, commit an error, a single and an error on the right fielder. And that's the 7th hit for Cincinnati. They've out-hit the Cardinals 7-3, but they trail on the scoreboard 2-1. But that man right there representing the tying run. And Richard really has been a tough out today for Mark Mulder. He has singled and doubled, and both were struck extremely hard. Not this one, though. And the runner stopped between second and third, and Mulder will get the out at first base on a nice little toe dance at first and stretched by Pujols. And I think that's a mistake on the part of Lopez. Mulder gave up the fact that he would go to third.
Well, Lopez probably judges this ball wrong. He makes the initial determination that that ball's too close to Mulder and he might get thrown out at third. But Mulder, who also dealing with the fact that he got hit on the knee in last inning, not real quick coming off the mound, still seems a little ginger as he's walking around on the mound, but makes the play, makes the sidearm throw to first base, and here he is facing Dunn again in a pressure situation.
I think it was a foregone conclusion on the part of Mulder that he figured that that runner was going to be able to make it to third. This one's cracked foul off the bat of Adam Dunn. Speaking of cracks, that's what he's looking for in that bat. He did not like the way that sounded off the bat. And Mulder once again pitching with a man in scoring position. This will be the third time in the game. Well, since it is Easter and you think about family so often, you think about a great story from Mulder when he signed with the Oakland A's. A very hefty bonus. He was the second player drafted back in 1998 and signed with the A's. Did something very nice for his family. That one's fouled. Gave a Christmas card to his dad with a blank check in it. He signed it, but a blank check, and wrote a note that accompanied it. And he said, "You don't have to work anymore." Wow. You're retired. Although he won't talk a lot about it. Mulder very humble, but a big family man. Younger brother now in the Army learning how to fly helicopters. I know that was emotional for him when his brother left the nest and undertook that particular lifestyle.
Sure, a lot of our viewers trying to figure out how to get on Mark Mulder's Christmas card list now.
Especially the one with the blank checks. Oof. He underplays it. Well, that showed how much he cared for his father and his mother, and continues to this day.
Well, you talked about family and this being Easter, but many of these players have stories to tell about the influence of their parents. David Eckstein, his father, dealing with a lot of adversity with his kidney issues, but really pushing his son along and being a great encouragement to his son. His father, Whitey, actually ran for public office in Florida, but he's had to deal with a lot, had to persevere, and he's passed that on to all of his children, including David.
And David had an intestinal blockage as an infant and nearly died. They didn't know what was wrong with him. He wasn't gaining weight, he was losing weight. And they found out when they took him to the emergency room at the hospital. So there's been a lot of adversity overcome by that Eckstein family. High and deep in the air to left center. Spezio, a tough one. He's looking, and it soars into the seats. Adam Dunn belts a 2-run home run to give the Reds a 3-2 lead. Every single hit he has had on this road trip has been a home run.
Adam Dunn showing that great power the other way. You just can't make a mistake with him. I'm sure if you watch him play day in and day out as a Cincinnati Red fan, you're frustrated with the strikeouts and with the missed opportunities, but he sure can't pick up his fans with home runs like that. Tremendous power the other way.
Today's home run of the game brought to you by Casino Queen Hotel and Casino. You can register to win Cardinals tickets at CasinoQueen.com. That was a long blast to left center the opposite way.
Bleacher fans trying to emulate the Chicago Cub bleacher fans and have someone throw that ball back. I'm not sure why Cardinal fans would want to emulate Chicago Cub fans. They should just be happy with who they are, Wayne.
They're the best in baseball, and they've proven that for a long time. Cubs fans are very good as well, but that's a tradition that they started. It's just like that little situation down in Southern California with the Dodgers with the beach ball and all that. Then you start seeing it all over the place, and it just doesn't fit. Fits in Los Angeles, a big part of Dodger Stadium over the years. He's collected a few pins along the way for that cap.
It's like it fits for my friends in my native state of New York to yell things at players every 5 minutes. That's their signature in New York.
And
to just
really
be
nice,
obnoxious.
pleasant.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
There's another one driven deep into left center field. And that one ends up just about the same location. Back-to-back home runs by Dunn and Kearns. And they have targeted left center field and the bleacherites out there. A 4-2 Cincinnati lead. They hit 6 home runs in a game at Wrigley earlier this week.
That's a hanging breaking pitch, and this game sure has changed in a hurry as Mulder surrenders back-to-back home runs. Dave Duncan working his way to the mound. Austin Kearns getting congratulated by his teammates, and Dave Duncan trying to settle down his pitcher, who's made a couple of mistakes here with 2 outs. We talked about the importance of finishing an inning. Mark Mulder able to finish innings early on in stress situations, but here gives up 3 runs with 2 outs.
Great seats for many games available right now on the Prime Seat Club at STLCardinals.com. That's what we've been told by the Cardinal brass. That's the best way for you to get tickets. The Prime Seat Club. No activity in the Cardinal bullpen in back of Mulder. Paid a visit by Dave Duncan, the pitching coach. And here's another line drive hit by Edwin Encarnacion. So 3 straight balls hit rather hard, and that's 10 hits now for Cincinnati today. Well, we've been talking about the wind here at the ballpark. Rich Gould standing by to give us a little bit more insight.
Yeah, guys, just as I said that it had calmed down somewhat, the wind did pick up. And something else that helps, of course, Adam Dunn and Austin Kearns can hit them out with anybody. Something else that helps those home run hitters, pitcher's location. Mulder has really been up in this entire inning.
And that's not where he makes his living.
Well, he sure has, Rich, and you wonder whether or not there may be some effect from that line drive off his knee. He's not going to use that as an excuse, and neither are we, but sometimes there is an effect of that you just get off of your mechanics just a tad, and that ball's now up in the strike zone instead of down.
And that is that landing leg, that front leg that was hit. Just like that, Cincinnati taking the lead, leading 4-2.
Rich told you the pitches were up in the strike zone. The home runs to Dunn and Kearns, both pitches. There's one about belt high to Adam Dunn. There's one about belt high to Austin Kearns. And both of those power hitters make Mulder pay for those mistakes.
He is falling behind Brandon Phillips.
The thing about a sinker ball pitcher too, Wayne, if you are up in the strike zone, your ball does not move as much. There's something about a pitch that a sinker baller throws that if it's around the knees, it has 2 to 3 times the movement. It just has a downward movement, maybe a little tail. But if it's up, it just seems straight as an arrow. Doesn't have time to break, and hitters can see that and capitalize on it.
That phone call being made as Brad Thompson warming up in the bullpen. 98 pitches from Mulder, and we are in the top of the 5th. This one may carry to Spezio and will. So that ball carried, and that helped. That actually benefited the Cardinals as they get the out of Phillips. But 2 home runs in back-to-back fashion by Dunn and Kearns. Cincinnati leads it 4-2. This portion of Cardinal baseball on WB11 brought to you by Dairy Queen. DQ's something different. By Pulaski Bank. Give them a chance to prove themselves to you. And by President Casino. You're going to have some fun. Well, very quickly, the tide turned in this one for Mark Mulder. And all of a sudden, it becomes very significant to look at Arroyo and the fact that he has allowed 2 runs on just 3 hits through 4 innings against this Cardinal offense. The Reds have a 2-run lead as the top of the order comes around for their 3rd try against Arroyo. David Eckstein has singled and walked. He has scored a run.
When you're Bronson Arroyo, you feel like you've just got a new lease on life. You're struggling. He has struggled a lot. Managed to get by with just the 2 runs in the first inning, but he's struggled through his 4 innings. But now he finds himself with a 2-run lead, and you stand a little taller. You feel a little more relaxed on the mound and feel like you've been given a second chance.
A pop up into shallow right, and Kearns has been there all day. That's about as shallow as you could make it. That's 9 out of 10 retired so far by Arroyo, so he's getting on a little bit of a run after that second walk issued in the second inning to Eckstein. They get 8 of 9 at this moment. 8 out of 9. Aaron Miles 0 for 2. Tough inning for Mulder, hoping his offense can come through. Miles will beat that one out with his speed, and an errant toss. Cincinnati leads the National League in errors. That's their 16th error committed by the Reds. That'll go as an infield hit, and then the error on the shortstop.
Well, he's got no chance to throw out at Miles out at first base. Miles fast enough. Lopez does come up quickly, but errant throw to first base. Not a really seasoned first baseman either. Not able to come up with that. That's just a poor decision on behalf of Lopez. Cardinals benefit. And now Albert gets a chance to perhaps tie this game up.
4-2 Cincinnati. Albert 0 for 1 and a walk. Ball 1 with that sinker.
How frustrating it must be at the level Albert Pujols is and not see a lot of fastballs, not see a lot of pitches over the plate. He is very patient, but day after day he has to deal with that.
That's that little bender that's in for a strike, that little breaking ball. Miles trying to come home. Arroyo has already beaten the Chicago Cubs twice. That's why the Reds began the day in first place in the division. They're 7-4 against the Central Division. Cardinals are 3-5 within the Central.
Cardinal bats sure have gone quiet after that first inning. Rodriguez, the 2-run triple. Looked like the Cardinals would just pick up where they left off yesterday.
That one's blasted to left, and you can kiss it goodbye. The game is tied. He did not get away with that hanger. Home runs, a big part of this Sunday in St. Louis. That, my friends, is number 6 for Albert Pujols.
Albert providing yet another thrill for the Cardinal fans as patience pays off as Arroyo finally leaves one up in the strike zone, and Albert tags it. Home run number 6 on the year. And just like that, the Cardinals are back in this game.
Albert out for the curtain call. He has had a long-running Broadway play here in St. Louis, hasn't he?
Standing room only.
So Mulder back even in this game. Just a case of follow the leader today. Cincinnati scores in the top of the first. Cardinals answered with 2 of their own. Reds jump out with 3 in the 5th. Cardinals have answered 2 with a hit of the game brought to you by the President Casino due to the efforts of Albert Pujols.
Now, when a play is good, don't they win Tonys for that?
Yes.
I would say that Albert has won a few Tony La Russas.
A long drive to left. Where will this one land? Gone! Home run! Cardinals take the lead. How about back-to-back home runs for both teams in the same inning? That is a Busch Stadium first at this address.
Albert continues his cheerleading as Scott Rowland just tattoos this hanger. And what does Scott Rowland do when he hits home runs? He thrills his first baseman Albert Pujols first, and he puts his head down and runs second. Very old school player. Scott Rowland providing a big thrill at Busch Stadium.
Well, there is a buzz amongst the faithful now.
That was a bomb, too. No doubt about that
one. Rodriguez trying to make a bid to make a little history here with back-to-back home runs. That was a home run cut he just took. We'll go down to the video room with Chad Blair and his associates and take an extra peek at that one. Pujols and Rowland in back-to-back fashion, following Dunn and Kearns, who did it in the top of the inning.
Saw where somebody this week did back-to-back home runs on 3 pitches.
Oakland A's did that on 3 pitches.
That's bad pitch selection. You might want to mix in a pitch down and away in the middle of that, wouldn't you?
I'd like to know where the 4th pitch was.
Back in the day, it would have been under somebody's chin.
Big chopper to the first baseman. That took a crazy hop. Nice play by Aurelia. 2 outs.
Our interactive question for the day comes from Jody Taylor. He's from Paragould, and his question is, in Tony La Russa's crystal ball here, what weakness does he have to deal with the Cardinals over the course of the year? Is there a weakness on this ball club? And I guess if I had to point out one thing, it may be the question marks in the bullpen. The middle relief guys right now a little still unsettled, have a little bit of question about the defense of this team. Early on, they've not performed as well as they're capable of doing, although they've got gold gloves all over the place. But this team is not real deep defensively. I think when you get to the secondary outfielders and the secondary infielders, they're not guys known for their hands. So I think defense, maybe at second base, in the outfield, is a question. But no question this inning about the power of that lineup as Pujols and Rowland go back-to-back.
Nice backhanded effort by Phillips, and throws out Spezio. Home runs the story of the inning in the top half and the bottom half. That's one loud home run. How about another? Cardinals lead by 1. The cornermen First baseman Albert Pujols, the third baseman Scott Rowland, flexing their muscles. And the Cardinals take a 5-4 lead over the Cincinnati Reds, and they will have a new pitcher. Called the bullpen, brought to you by Weber Chevrolet. When it comes to Chevrolet sales and service, make your money count at Weber Chevrolet. And it is Brad Thompson, appearing in his 7th game, 101 mark, 1.80 ERA, and a guy who really admires the way that Thompson goes about his business is my partner, Rick Horton.
I love the way he works. Very confident young man. Great rookie season with the Cardinals last year. Was voted the rookie pitcher of the year in St. Louis at the baseball writers dinner. Very well deserved, and really kind of came out of nowhere. Had that wonderful year in the minor leagues where he went 50+ innings without giving up a run, which is not that easy to do, and he's just continued it at the major league level, showing the good hard sinker and slider and a lot of competitiveness in this young man.
David Ross, the first man to face him. Hit it off the fist. That'll carry a little bit, but right there is Schumacher. Another defensive change. You see number 99 running.
We talked about the defense issue for the Cardinals. Outfield defense not being real strong today with the second guys in there, and Tony La Russa has brought Encarnacion back into right field and Taguchi to left field now that he has a lead through 5 innings. Would hate to see his team give up a run that maybe shouldn't happen because of outfield defense.
Encarnacion will bat in the number 5 spot. Brad Thompson will bat in the number 6 spot. And then you've got Taguchi, who will bat in the number 9 spot, due to bat 3rd in the bottom half of this 6th inning. So those are the changes for you, with Encarnacion in right, Taguchi in left, and Brad Thompson with 1 out working on a pinch hitter. Oh, a wicked hop at first, and Albert Pujols stayed with that one. That's 3 unbelievable hops over there at first, and they retired Tony Womack, who had a great 2004 season with the Cardinals.
Tony still has a lot of fans here in St. Louis, no doubt, for the job he did. And he hits a blistering ball to Albert, who has his glove down and stays with it, spins around. You have to have great reflexes to make a play like that. Ball does take a funny hop down there at first base. We have seen a few of those. And nice to get Tony Womack out. You don't want him running on the base paths because he can create some energy for this Red ball club. I think he's a good acquisition for them.
Was never happy with the New York Yankees. Just never happy when he lost his second base job to Robinson Cano. Thompson, who works very quick. You like that?
Yeah, I do. He seems to be working a little quicker than he has in the past. It helps your defense. You know, this game's been in kind of a slow game in terms of both starting pitchers throwing a lot of pitches out of the strike zone, working a little more deliberately. But Brad Thompson, you know, I like that old adage, man. If you're going to be bad in a hurry. No sense in doing it slowly. So just get it done.
In Las Vegas, used to go around Christmas time to a little clinic put on by none other than Greg Maddux. He certainly learned how to throw strikes from Maddux, because that's really been the outstanding job of Greg Maddux over the many years.
168 pitches. We talked about that earlier. 432, the most in a 9-inning game. Seemed like we saw just about that many in the first inning of this game. But 168,
John
the Reds
Lieber.
and the Cubs. How about that? An hour 48.
John Lieber was the starter in that game for the Cubs at 78. I saw Andy Ashby throw an 85 pitch complete game. That was on a Sunday before the All-Star game.
Oh, one of those.
Everybody, yeah, it was
expanded
just like,
strike zone.
just swing.
Yeah. You find games like that the last day of spring training too.
Felipe Lopez at the plate with a throw over to first base to keep Friel tight to the bag. He leads the National League in stolen bases with 6, and it's a 1-run game. 5-4 Cardinals, top of the 6th inning. Station identification time. WB11 KPLR St. Louis. Well, the bullpen is going to be asked to go extensively here in their work on this Easter Sunday, as Thompson takes over the pitching chores in the 6th inning. Close play over there at first base. Lopez has struck out, grounded out, and singled. Mulder with a chance to win it if the bullpen can bring it home. Not far enough away for the runner to advance, especially when he goes back in diving and had some contact with Albert.
That ball might have hit him in the back. A throw from Brad Thompson. There are times where the runner stops the ball more than the first baseman does. Albert just hit him on the back a couple more times. Here, let me hit you on your other shoulder. Boom. I think that ball hit him right in the right shoulder. How'd that feel?
That had to hurt, especially when you're not expecting it. 0-2 the count.
Wouldn't be the first time, Wayne, that a major league pitcher who didn't get a chance to throw at a hitter in the box found a way to do it while he was running on the bases. I'm sure Brad Thompson didn't do that on purpose, but I can guarantee you that it has happened before.
Friel has him measured. Oh, you can hear that guy call time all the way up here.
There's something Tony saw right there. He may have felt that stolen base signal was on, and he wants to make sure Molina gets the right sign to either step off, throw over, or pitch out. Those are the things that come from the manager to the catcher.
And Thompson did the best thing a pitcher can do. He goes after the hitter and strikes out Lopez, swinging at a high one. 5-4 Cardinals. The matrimonial law firm of Hayes, and Callan remind you that this copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the St. Louis Cardinals LLC. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of the game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals LLC. Hayes, and Callan, the divorce attorneys who go to bat for you. New pitcher is Rick White. He was with the Cardinals. In fact, he pitched very well for the Cardinals back in the 2002 season. Appeared in 20 games at an ERA of under 1. He was 3-1 that year. Call to the bullpen is always brought to you by Weber Chevrolet.
He appeared in 5 postgame appearances with the Cardinals that year and really was just absolutely unhittable. Really had his career moment, I think, as a member of the St. Louis Cardinals when it mattered most. He actually pitched in the division clinching game against Houston on the 20th of September that year in 02.
That was an amazing story. As Yadier Molina, first ball swinging, gives Encarnacion the try, and there's it out. That is the winner of the Rick White look-alike contest on the right.
They seem to be getting along just fine.
Rick White was released by the Colorado Rockies that year and came to St. Louis and pitched up a storm. That to me is amazing. This drive to left off the bat of Schumacher will be taken care of by Dunn, and there are 2 outs. 2 pitches, 2 outs. That's a nice way to work.
There he is.
He won it, hands down. Oh, boy. Now, so Taguchi trying to get untracked. He'll step in with 2 outs. Cardinals had Brad Thompson work the top half of this 6th inning. They've got Adam Wainwright throwing in the bullpen. And what a great story he has been so far.
He's been great, been phenomenal. I'm sure we will see him before this game is over.
Well, there were 4 pitches. The Cardinals are out on a nice tag out at first base by Aruba. So Wainwright will be the man to come in. The kid from Georgia. 5-4 Cardinals lead. Watch Cardinals games live online whenever you're away from home, exclusively from MLB.TV. STLCardinals.com is more live games than anyone else. This is a special Easter Sunday. It's a very special birthday.
How about that? My mom is here at the ballpark. She's in from Hyde Park, New York, visiting us, and it's her birthday this weekend, and we're enjoying Easter with her, and glad she's at the ballpark. She loves her Cardinal baseball.
Nothing better than that. Now this guy, Adam Wainwright, who grew up in Georgia, saying there were two things on the television when I grew up in Georgia. One was Braves baseball, and he was a Braves fan. The other one was the Dukes of Hazzard. You didn't miss it, he said. 5-4 lead for the Cardinals, as this is a tough part of the lineup for Wainwright. Rich Aruba, Adam Dunn, and Austin Kearns, they are responsible for a little of the offense put on display by the Reds here this afternoon. It's going to be a tough play. Rolling. Oh, what a play! He threw that from just about being parallel between that base path between first and second. There was no way Eckstein was going to make that play, and Roland does another one of those great rolling plays that we'll see over and over again. It's brought to you by Commerce Bank.
Look at the distance he has to go to make that play and how he has to throw off balance. Right on the money. Albert Pujols pleased with that play. David Eckstein can't make that play. There's no way he's going to be able to throw out Aruba, but Scott Rowland, another gem. That's why he's a Gold Glover. And Adam Wainwright thinking, you know what, I can pitch at this level if they keep making plays like that behind me.
That was a spectacular play by Scott Rowland. Becomes a little redundant during the course of a baseball season. Wainwright behind the count 2-0 to Dunn, who unloaded on a home run, his 7th of the year, to lead the National League in that category.
You know, there's something to be said for a young pitcher getting to the big leagues and finding out that you can pitch a little better at this level if you throw strikes and get the ball in play, because the defense is so much better. I think that's one of the biggest differences between minor leagues and the big leagues is you don't have as many defensive holes behind you. And what you need to do is not do what he just did right there, walk hitters. Keep the ball in play. You've got guys that can make plays behind you. David Eckstein, Scott Rowland, Jim Edmonds on a normal day in center field. Albert Pujols becoming a much better defensive player as his career progresses. I don't want to say let him hit it. That's not the right word to say it, but make him put the ball in play.
Never gave anything for Dunn to hit. And now goes after Kearns, who's driven in a pair with an RBI single on that solo home run. Wainwright missing for ball one. Two years ago, Wainwright had an arm problem. Came back last year as a starter for that Memphis Cardinals team. And he jammed it. It is Pujols giving way to the second baseman. 2 outs. Great pitch made to get Kearns.
J.D. Drew is traded to Atlanta. The word we kept hearing from Walt Jocketty in the Cardinals front office was, wait till you see Adam Wainwright. He's not ready now, but the trade will make more sense when Adam Wainwright matures. Well, that future is now for the Cardinals and for Walt Jocketty in that deal, because Adam Wainwright is just becoming the guy that they thought he would be.
Encarnacion steps in, 1 out of 3 with a single. Five runs on 6 hits for the Cardinals today. 4 runs on 10 hits for the Reds. Reds have left 7 on the bases. The Cardinals have left a total of 4.
That pitch 89 miles an hour from Wainwright, not overly eye-popping in terms of his velocity, but he's got that tremendous overhand curveball. It's the pitch he likes to throw, likes to get his strikeouts with.
Three balls and no strikes. Wainwright, who had Molina catch him in Memphis, relies on him extensively. You'll never see him shake him off. And he has walked his second man on 4 wide ones in the inning. Brandon Phillips heading to the plate. Ken Griffey Jr. was available for pinch hit duty on Friday night. Actually stood in the on-deck circle. Was available yesterday. But still no sign of him as we are in the 7th inning with 2 on and 2 out.
Cardinals have already used Brad Thompson. They have Braden Looper, Josh Hancock from the right side down the bullpen. I suspect they're going to get some action down there. And it looks like that may be Randy Flores beginning to get loose and perhaps using a left-hander.
It is Flores.
Late in the game may be the call from Dave Duncan. I think Braden Looper certainly on for this game, as is Jason Isringham.
Wainwright working out of the stretch with those runners at first and second. That one's hit off the fist. Taguchi got a good read on that one and hauls it in for the out. So Wainwright had 2 runners reach by walks, but the inning began with this play. And when you begin with this play, it can deny an awful lot to the opposition.
Into the bottom of the 7th we go. 5-4 Cardinals, part of racing royalty in St. Louis. Kenny Wallace joins us. Hiya, Kenny. What a day at the ballpark, huh?
Man, I can't believe this. Easter Sunday, and this place is jam-packed, and I'm part of it. I came in from Nashville and raced yesterday, finished 8th, and I'm happy to be here.
Finished 8th in Nashville yesterday. Catch a flight and, ladies and gentlemen, called the Albert Pujols home run. You were on with Shannon at the time. What'd you tell him?
Well, I was over there on 550 KTRS, and Mike Shannon said, well, nobody warming up in the Cincinnati bullpen. And I said, Mike, I've listened to you my whole life. And I said, you've always taught me one swing of the bat by Albert Pujols, and they'll be warming up in that Cincinnati bullpen. All of a sudden, swing, it's a long one. And he said, oh, my Lord. And I said, oh, my Lord. And it was just fantastic. It's nothing better than, you know, being here. Oh, here we go. Well, get up there. Get up. Yeah.
Well, it is Easter. You can say, oh, my Lord, all you want to. Did you call Scott Rowland's home run?
No, actually, I was so stunned and nervous at that time. I jumped up out of the seat, and they said, get back down here, Kenny Wallace. Get back down here. So, oh, man, I tell you what, there's nothing better. And I'm so happy that you guys are covering these games because I grew up with Channel 11, and there's nothing better than you guys covering Cardinal baseball.
Good, because pretty soon we want you and Rusty to come to the fan show. Come see us at the Casino Queen and visit with us live. Will you do that for us?
Absolutely. You know, my brother Rusty's retired now, and obviously he's on some other networks.
He's very old now.
What is he, 40, 49? I'm going to tell you what, any athlete now that reaches 40, you're done. But I tell you what, I like, what is it, who's the Chicago pitcher that's 40 now? Maddox.
Yeah.
My gosh, that guy's 40 and still striking them out. So I don't know about that age thing.
And for anybody who doubts it, a NASCAR driver is an athlete.
Well, feel my biceps, you know what I mean?
Wow.
I'm 42 and I'm tough, baby. But yeah, no, you have to stay in shape. You know, I mean, I do, and we race an awful lot. You know, they play 162 games, and we race, you know, 36 weeks out of a 52-week year, and we test. And you got to stay in shape. You got to stay on your game.
Good to see you, Kenny.
Happy to be here, and thanks to Channel 11. Like I said, I grew up with you guys. You're awesome.
All right, back to you, Wayne. Rick?
Thank you very much. I tell you what, he's going to work on his vocal cords. That's the way I'm telling you. He got excited with that home run call.
I love it.
But Rich made a very good point. Those guys are great athletes.
And isn't it great to see how great a fan he is of Cardinal baseball also?
This could be 2. Rick White induces a double play off the bat of Aaron Miles, so that erases Eckstein and Miles, and Albert Pujols comes to the plate. Kenny's getting ready for another play-by-play call. Last time these two individuals batted, first it was Pujols, and then it was Rowland. And the Cardinals took the lead from Cincinnati just like that. They still enjoy that lead of 5-4. They answered Cincinnati's 3 spot at the top of the 5th with 3 of their own in the bottom of that inning. We are in the 7th. Pujols 1 out of 2 and a walk. He has scored 2 more runs and he's driven in a pair.
I love seeing Albert being one of the first ones to greet Scott Rowland. He almost seemed happier than Rowland was. Rowland, of course, did his traditional just run around the bases as fast as I can with my head down and play the game right. But Albert very happy for the Cardinal third baseman, and he's a big part of this hopes of this team. These 2 guys right here. But Albert has been so consistent over his 5 years. You just kind of take that as a given. Scott Rowland, a lot of question marks with him, but all the answers have been positive so far.
Scott Rowland has been the victim of some bizarre injuries. They always seem to take place in the postseason. His first year with the Cardinals, when they had a chance in the League Championship Series against the Giants, couldn't participate. Last year was on the shelf with a shoulder problem. Abraham Nunez taking his spot and played very well at third, but there's only one Scott Rowland, and there's only one Albert Pujols. Folks, he has hit another one. That is home run number 7 to tie him with Adam Dunn for the National League lead in round trippers.
And Albert does one more time what he does so well. Hits the ball right down the line, somehow manages to keep this ball fair. He's got that swing where he gets the bat head out. Albert cheered for Scott Rowland. What does Scott Rowland think about Albert Pujols? Come on, stay fair. You know it always does, Scott. Now it's your turn.
And another curtain call for that man.
Amazing how he keeps the ball fair. 3 home runs he's had in this series. All of them have been within 5 feet of that foul pole.
And what is the difference?
Well, it's his ability to keep his hands close to his body. Players call it hands inside the ball, inside the path of the ball between your body and the ball. And he's able to get the bat head out in front of him.
That's a laser beam to center, and Friel leaves his feet and makes a tumbly catch to end the 7th. Home runs a part of the afternoon here on Easter Sunday 2006. Let's just watch as we go to the break. Albert Pujols has stung the Reds for a pair of home runs. And he hasn't even gotten to the ballpark in Cincinnati where he really likes to tattoo baseballs. But he's done it here on the home turf. He's driven in a total of 3. He has scored 3 times. And that 3, 4, and 5 spots today paying dividends for the Cardinals with Pujols and Rowland each homering. And remember the hit by John Rodriguez earlier. That was the 2-out, 2-run triple in the first inning that erased an early 1-0 Cincinnati lead. This is Quentin McCracken, who hurt his ankle in spring training. He had made the ball club, but because of that injury couldn't play the last couple of weeks. And this is a guy who can flat out pinch hit. Holds the all-time record for pinch hits as an Arizona Diamondback. He has been a part of some pretty good ball clubs, and he should help this team. In the air to center. That ball really carrying. Schumacher looking up, and it is gone. How about the at-bat for Quentin McCracken as he belts a home run, and that home run by Pujols becoming even more important as once again it's a 1-run game. It's 6-5.
Well, Rich Gould has been telling us all game that the ball seems to be carrying a little bit more today. And this ball really carries to center field. McCracken does hit it well, but this ball just keeps flying away from the Cardinals center fielder Skip Schumacher. I think he thinks he's got a beat on the ball, and it just continues to carry over his head. McCracken showing a lot of power as La Russa has seen enough of Adam Wainwright. That's his first run he's given up this season. And the Cardinals are going to have to go to the rest of their bullpen. And it looks like it'll be Randy Flores.
That's because the Reds have brought up Javier Valentin, one of their catchers, as a pinch hitter. So that man Randy Flores will be facing Valentin when we come back at 6-5 Cardinals at the top of the 8th. Well, we've seen some home runs of length. Pujols, his home run in the bottom of the 6th, 378 feet. McCracken just hit one 407 feet. And Randy Flores will contend with the switch hitting catcher Javier Valentin.
Flores is quickly becoming the #1 left-hander out of the pen. Ricardo Rincon's been kind of off and on so far, and really has been since spring training. But Randy Flores with a solid year last year out of the bullpen. Gets a chance to pitch here late in the game in the 8th inning. He'll be backed up by Looper, who's continuing to warm in the Cardinal bullpen. And we will probably see Jason Isringhausen in the 9th inning. And Izzy's had kind of an up and down season so far. A lot of folks kind of down on Izzy, but he is hoping for a chance yet again to be the guy in the 9th inning.
Valentin takes a strike. Oh for 8 from this side of the plate. Make it 0 for 9 on a nice play by Rowland. A tricky hop. That's why they turned him around to make him bat right-handed. 0 for 9 this season. That's the all-important first out, and Ryan Friel coming up. He has doubled and scored a run, struck out, grounded out, and walked.
Well, any way you slice it, Adam Dunn is going to get a chance to hit again in this ball game. And you'd rather it be in the 9th inning than here in the 8th inning. Dunn, of course, hitting in the cleanup spot, has homered here today, his 7th home run. He has 11 RBIs. You don't want him to come up late in the ball game ever because he's so dangerous. Randy Flores' job is to make sure he bats in the 9th.
The Cardinals are going to have to learn how to win the close games. They're 1-3 in one-run decisions. Cincinnati atop the National League Central. They have been letter perfect. They're 3-0 in one-run games. Cardinals leading by 1 run at the moment.
Well, I know the manager has not lost confidence in his stopper, Jason Isringhausen. You hear him talk about Izzy, and he just does not like the negative thoughts and negative talk, some of which comes from Izzy himself, as he tends to be hard on himself. But he's a guy that still has a great deal of confidence. Izzy has shared with me today that he reads all the stuff written about him. He goes online to hear the people who kind of just get frustrated with him, and he says it actually provides fuel for him. And he doesn't get mad at the people who criticize his performance, but he uses it as fuel to make him better. He says, I don't see faces when I read those emails or hear those comments. I just listen to those thoughts to make me better. And if you think about Izzy, since 2003, only one pitcher in all of Major League Baseball, Mariano Rivera, has more saves, and his save percentage very high also, even better than Trevor Hoffman, thought of as one of the top relievers in the game. And we've just come to expect so much out of the short reliever in St. Louis, with the history of Bruce Sutter and Todd Worrell and Lee Smith, that the bar again is so high that Izzy has a couple of bad games and we're ready to just, you know, back up the truck and send him away. But really has been kind of the Rodney Dangerfield of short relievers here in St. Louis.
But those who have performed with him and against him, they do have the respect for Jason Isringhausen. And he may get his chance today. No question about it. That walk to Friel did not help things for Flores with his ability to steal a base. And this is where Molina becomes so important. He completely stops a running game. One of the best throwing catchers in the game. Fleury's job is to keep him close to that bag at first. Lopez fouls it out of play, and it's 1-2. Well, you know that the Reds don't go away easy. They are tough hombres. They can swing the bats. And a throw to first to get Frio back.
The Reds can not only swing the bat, they've got a couple of guys in their dugout who are used to a little late inning heroics, and Bucky Dent and Chris Chambliss. Chambliss formerly with the Cardinals, known for his postseason heroics against the Kansas City Royals when he was with the Yankees.
This could be a double play, and Encarnacion dropped the ball. Thinking about the double play instead of catching the ball, and he has done the unthinkable. And the Reds have runners at first and third. Frio was on his way to second base, did not pick up where that ball was struck. Encarnacion makes an easy catch of it and an even easier toss to first, and this inning would be over.
Well, what a backbreaker this is, as Encarnacion trying to catch the ball, thinking about throwing back to first base. No question he's going to be able to double up Ryan Frio, who is just resigned to being out at this point. Goes back, touches the base again, and alertly gets to third base with less than 2 outs. And what a bad spin that is for the Cardinals, as Encarnacion, who came into this game for defensive purposes, makes a huge error here in the 8th.
Hard to imagine that he would drop the ball in that particular situation as many games as he has played in the major leagues. Hector Luna is going to come in defensively at second base as a part of the double switch. And the Cardinals are looking for help. They lead at 6-5, but that lead is in jeopardy, as almost everybody from the bullpen may get into this one. Stunned silence here in St. Louis as that drop ball by Juan Encarnacion, which could have been maybe one of the easiest double plays from the outfield he probably would ever have. But now it's Braden Looper to try to pick up his ball club. No better time to do it. But the situation, 1 out, runners at first and third, 8th inning, Cardinals leading by a run.
He's going to have to face the middle of the Reds lineup in Aurelia and Dunn, and then Kearns. He needs a strikeout in this situation because of the error by Encarnacion and Wright, who's off to, boy, just a tough start with the Cardinals. He doesn't have a lot of equity built up with the fans here yet, so it's just kind of snowballing on him right now and becoming
almost. The interest rate is
going
up.
It sure is. I mean, it's one thing if, you know, if Albert didn't have a hit for a week, which I can't even imagine, we would all be much more forgiving. But Encarnacion just not getting it done early on in a Cardinal uniform.
Luna came in the game. He's playing second base. Looper takes the place in the lineup of Aaron Miles, batting second. And here's Aurelia. He was trying to bring in that runner from third to tie the game, or maybe a little bit more than that.
You're going to have to gear it up a tad because that ball was by him. Looper, unlike Wainwright and Thompson, is really known for the good hard fastball. Probably the hardest throwing of the Cardinal relievers.
Aurelia 2 out of 4 today, and he has stung the baseball.
It'd be all right if he just stung a one hopper right to David Eckstein.
That fastball popped the catcher's mitt, but a little high and wide.
Hector Luna, the defensive replacement at second base, may be forced to make a quick turn and a quick throw. It just shows how these players have to be ready. He comes in the middle of an inning without having really been throwing, and he may be forced to turn a double play and make the biggest throw of the game.
Looper could make his mark in this game today. Fouled back just below us. 1 ball and 2 strikes. This is his 9th inning. This is a defining moment for Looper. This is what it was designed to be all along. That he would be the setup man to Jason Isringhausen, and that means sometimes a very difficult 8th inning to get through. And he has the challenge now of getting Aurelia with Dunn on deck. Two and two.
He went low in the strike zone right there, hoping to get Aurelia to chase that pitch and hit a weak ground ball. Part of the cat and mouse game that always goes on between pitcher and hitter. Looper, a veteran. He's no stranger to these tough situations.
That's deep enough to get the runner home, and maybe even then some, as it bounces up against the fence. Encarnacion having a lot of trouble picking it up, and the Reds are going to take the lead. A booming double, his second of the game by Rich Aurelia, and it's 7-6 Cincinnati, and the Cardinal bullpen has had a very difficult time of it on this initial homestand. The maiden voyage has not had anything but rocky waters for that bullpen.
We've seen 4 people make mistakes in this inning, and this is Braden Looper's mistake. A fastball up and out over the plate that Aurelia makes him pay for, but it began with a mistake by Adam Wainwright, as both runs score on this ball off the bat of Aurelia. But Wainwright's home run to Quentin McCracken led off this inning. Randy Flores makes the mistake of walking Ryan Friel. Juan Encarnacion makes a defensive mistake in right field, and now Looper makes the 4th Cardinal error of this inning, and the 6-4 lead evaporates, and now the Reds up by 1.
Every reliever in this game for the Cardinals walked a man. Thompson, Wainwright, Flores, and Looper. This one, of course, intentional. And setting up the hope for double play with Austin Kearns. Now we have to look to the bottom of the 8th inning, and Encarnacion will be leading it off. Earlier in the game, in the top half of inning number 5, they were back-to-back home runs for the Reds, with Dunn launching one and then Kearns moments later.
Both on balls up in the strike zone. Cardinals getting too many pitches up today. The ball carrying really to all fields. The Cardinal home runs, really no doubt about any of those that Pujols and Rowland hit, but a couple of the other home runs today, McCracken's in particular, really carried.
Rifled foul off to the right. Kearns with a couple of hits, that home run and a RBI single in the first inning. One out, runners at first and second. Cardinals down by a run, 7-6, 8th inning. Strike call.
Tony La Russa is still trying to figure out the proper combination of left, right, and how to use his bullpen. Guys have different strengths. Wainwright, the curveball guy who can get strikeouts. Looper, good hard fastball, used to pitching in late situations. Thompson, the ground ball guy.
He got him this time. About a 3/4 swing by Kearns, who was overpowered for the second out of the inning. Now it's Edwin Encarnacion. We knew the bullpen would have a question mark simply because there were so many pieces changed during the course of the offseason. But I didn't figure this to happen in the first week of the home campaign, this first homestand. Nothing has been easy. He'll get it figured out. He's been down this road before, Dave Duncan. This one is playable. Schumacher, you can see that sun hitting off his sunglasses, and the inning is over. But not before Cincinnati scored 3 times and taking a 7-6 lead to the bottom of the 8th. Todd Coffey, who pitched very well in relief on Friday night to support the 1-0 victory of the Cincinnati Reds. Aaron Harang over Chris Carpenter and the Cardinals, and he'll come on and pitch the bottom of the 8th inning. A 1.59 ERA. McCracken will take over defensively in left field after he pinch hit and hit that home run. What a way to start off his Cincinnati career with that home run.
Have a little chance for a little Easter atonement here, as Juan Encarnacion is the first batter scheduled to face Coffey. Really rough start for the Cardinal right fielder. Fans trying to be as supportive as they can of the new acquisition. And I know he's trying to work his way out of it. He spent a lot of time with Hal McRae before the game, hitting off the tee, had his normal round, and Hal McRae said, I'm just going to let him hit. I'm not really going to talk to him, but we're going to go in and work in the cage and work out something that I see in his batting stance and his approach and try to fix it. What McRae really said is he's just having a hard time getting loaded. He's getting loaded too late. Not enough movement early enough, so he's not really ready to hit. And it's creating some defensive swings, which is leading to a low batting average and not a lot of power from the guy who's expected to provide some pop in the middle of the Cardinal lineup.
He's put a lot of pressure on himself. You would imagine that baseball bat being sawdust the way that he has been clinging to it. In the hole, tough play. Can he beat it out? Yes. An infield hit. No matter what it was, if it was going to come up positive, you know the crowd would react in his favor. And Encarnacion is safe at first, representing the tying run. That was a great effort by Lopez, wasn't it?
Not a lot has gone well for Encarnacion, but this does. Very close play. I thought he might be out at first base. Lopez throws off balance, keeps the ball down. Close play at first base. Encarnacion gets the benefit of the doubt and finally has something positive happen. And the Cardinals are hoping to bring him around. Hector Luna came on defensively last inning. We'll get a chance to continue what was a pretty torrid pace yesterday with the bat.
He had a home run in his first start. Had a couple of other hits, drove in a total of 3, and they were anticipating something being put on, and it wasn't. And Luna will take a look at Jose Oquendo, the third base coach. Valentin is now catching. He remained in the game, and he can throw people out. He's got a very, very good arm. Luna having a wonderful season to this point, but built mainly on a Saturday afternoon. Is there a carryover effect? 1 ball, 1 strike. Station identification. This is WB11, KPLR, St. Louis.
Not a big fan of pitch outs when your team is ahead 7-6 in the 8th inning, and you're giving your pitcher, you're putting him in a position where he's got to work behind in the count. Pitch out, the Cardinals not running on it. Now all of a sudden it's 1-0 on the hitter. To me, you're leading. Make them make it happen.
Once again, Luna getting the attention from Oquendo. 7-6, Reds on top. Back and forth, this one has gone. Just missing. Coffey does something that you don't see too many right-handers do.
I was just noticing that he's checking the runner,
looking over his right shoulder.
Isn't that weird?
That's strange.
Now that's only to be surpassed by Pascual Perez, who used to look between his legs at the runner at first base. The old Atlanta Braves pitcher.
When he
Watch Coffey come set, and he checks him looking over his right shoulder.
Runner goes, a hit and run, the throw, and they're going to get him. Encarnacion is thrown out. That was a tough pitch to handle for Luna. He did everything in his power. But that strong arm of the catcher Valentin, and he guns down his man.
Well, this isn't really Encarnacion's fault. It's just the way the game goes. His job is to make sure the pitcher goes home. It's a hit and run. It's not a straight steal. Encarnacion has good legs, but Luna not able to handle that pitch down in the dirt. And a tough break for the Redbirds.
Three and two the count.
Even though that ball is down in the zone, Luna has got to do everything he can to get his bat on the ball. Even if it is a tough pitch to handle, just foul it off, do something with it. You can't leave your base runner hanging out to dry.
And a line drive that just eluded Phillips' bid. He timed it. He just wasn't tall enough. And Luna has his 4th hit in the last 2 days.
Well, that's another pitch down and away. Luna goes down to get this one. He does that one pitch earlier, 2 pitches earlier, and the Cardinals have 1st and 3rd, nobody out here in the 8th inning. Just goes to show you what a difference one pitch either way will make in the course of a game.
So Coffey has given up 2 hits in the frame, but has 1 valuable out. And here's Yadier.
We've talked a lot, Wayne, excuse me, about the Cardinal bullpen. We really haven't said too much about this Reds bullpen. Not names that'll really knock your socks off. We've seen Rick White already, Todd Coffey, David Weathers, the short guy who's been around, veteran guy, but nobody that, you know, makes you say, oh no, I hope we don't have to face that guy in the 9th inning. So they're certainly vulnerable late in the game. Their starting pitching has improved, but they don't have that Billy Wagner out there, that Gagne, that Trevor Hoffman. It makes a big difference in the course of a season.
Yadier Molina has a single today in his 3 trips. That defense, you see Friel, the center fielder, several steps towards right center. That was before the first pitch was thrown to Molina. The dugout for the Reds barking out to him to move, and he actually sprinted over to that spot. He was playing him well over into left center. One thing about Luna, he has become a very valuable commodity for the Cardinals late in a ball game when he's in and running at first base. He can nab a base. And he has a very good sized lead at first. There he goes, and it's fouled away.
It's still strange to me to see Coffey working out of the stretch, checking the runner over his right shoulder. It seems like you would be able to get a better jump, because once his head starts to turn the other way and he starts to pick up to where he's going home, we checking the runner, go, go, go. That's a big jump. Now he can turn his head backwards and stop, but if the rest of his body and he's starting his motion, seems to me that you're going to get a much better jump off of first base, and the Cardinals trying to do that. Encarnacion's jump not good enough. He was thrown out, but a pretty good jump there by Luna.
Hammered foul down the left side. Molina taking his time getting back in that batter's box as Coffey stares off, thinking about this next pitch. Came in with an off-speed pitch, this top foul.
Had thought about Pascual Perez for a while, but I believe, Wayne, I remember him not only coming set with his legs wide apart, looking between his legs to check the runner, but I think I remember him throwing the ball between his legs back to first base, which I wouldn't try at home. Bound to get an error, but that was one strange bird, Pascual Perez. He was the guy that when he'd strike you out, he would shoot you. He'd go bang, bang, bang if he struck you out.
Very volatile, and he brought out the worst in the opposition in that way, because they always wanted to go after him. He was a bit of a headhunter.
Also the guy that got lost on the highway trying to get to the ballpark in Atlanta.
Missed his starting spot that night. What happened that night?
Oh, what a goofball.
But
I also remember
his brother, was just the opposite. Very quiet demeanor.
He was one of the members of the White Sox staff when I was there in '88. Melito, very hard worker. He always used to say, "I'm nothing like my brother." He was always quick to point that out, and he wasn't. And a pretty good pitcher in his own right. And Pasquale was a pretty good pitcher.
Just not a great driver. Runner goes, and it's grounded foul. So they sent Luna. And he'll have to go back to first base. A ball and 2 strikes to Molina.
That ball down in the zone. Molina, very good contact hitter. Molina's a great hit and run guy because he doesn't strike out very much. Luna, not able to put a bat on the ball, has cost the Cardinals in this inning. Molina, pretty good at getting the ball in play. Not a bad guy to hit and run with.
Filed off to the right. Jason Isringhausen is warming up in the bullpen. Molina has not hit a home run this season, but is capable. And that one is a fair ball and hits that area that juts out with the stands, and Luna is stopped at third base by Jose Oquendo. It's a double for Molina. 3 consecutive hits for the Cardinals, and perhaps the tide has turned for the Cardinals here in the inning. Trying to overcome that mistake.
Luna's running on the pitch, and Molina puts the ball in play down the line. Jose Oquendo being a little more conservative than we're used to seeing out of Oquendo. He's got a tough decision to make. McCracken, the new left fielder, he holds him up even though there is 1 out, and he still represents the tying run at third base with Schumacher coming to the plate. A little bit more conservative than you're used to seeing from Jose Oquendo.
And I'm wondering if part of it is that that number 9 spot is so Taguchi, so it's not the pitcher spot. Maybe he's thinking that these 2 guys can drive in the runs. But you're right, Oquendo, a very aggressive third base coach, and McCracken does not have a great arm in left field.
I think Molina thought he had a shot at an RBI right there as he hit that ball hard right down the line. Kent Merker, the left-hander, the veteran, another former Cardinal, is loosening.
You've got the left-handed batting Schumacher, then you've got Taguchi, Eckstein, and then the pitcher spot. They're going to intentionally walk Schumacher to load the bases for So Taguchi. The Cardinals have the tying runner 90 feet away from the promised land.
Well, here's another move that doesn't make a lot of sense to me. The first pitch out I didn't like early in this inning. You're winning a game and you're putting a runner aboard late in the game when you've got a left-hander loose to perhaps face Schumacher. Cardinals with nobody other than Gary Bennett left on the bench to pinch hit for Schumacher on the right side. You've got Merker ready. I'm not sure why you'd want to put extra guys on the base path. It's almost a defensive move by Jerry Narron. And So Taguchi, who is shown to be very successful at hitting with runners in scoring position. He's also a guy very capable with the bat in terms of squeeze plays. This could be a very interesting at-bat for So Taguchi.
With the bases loaded, you don't get much better than that. At 476. Will that average go up or will it go down? That answer coming. Ball 1. A pressure's on the pitcher all of a sudden.
Well, that's another thing that happens. If you walk the bases loaded, I'm telling you, there is a difference between pitching with the base open and all of a sudden pitching with the bases loaded. You've got to throw strikes now. Taguchi had some success against Coffey in the past.
Foul down the left side, right off the trademark.
Just seems too defensive to me, Wayne. You've got the lead. You need to be the one that thinks you got to come catch me. I'm not going to play defensively. I'm not going to pitch around people. I'm going to go right at you and set the tone. Probably something the Reds wouldn't do if they had a Gagne or a Wagner or an Isringhausen in their bullpen.
There's your point. That's popped up and playable. Shallow right. And the catch made by the guy who owns the best arm in the outfield, Austin Kearns. And there are 2 outs. Not deep enough to send that runner, Hector Luna. And this is the guy who led the National League last year with men in scoring position. And that's David Eckstein. As they say in those Broadway plays, what have you done for me lately?
Now, there's certain moments that you remember if you're a baseball fan, and you point to a handful of them and say, "I'll remember when." How about the grand slam that David Eckstein hit last year to win a ball game? That's one of my favorite moments that I've seen from the vantage point of the broadcast booth. What a great moment in time that was. And here again, he hits with the bases loaded.
There's a fly ball into left, and McCracken has this one in his sights and his glove. Well, we can look back to the bottom of the 8th inning and one decisive play. Well, Kendo changing his mind and holding Luna. We go to the 9th. He was rooting until he just ran out of gas.
How can you be asleep in a 7-6 game in the 8th inning?
When you're less than a year old, that can happen. That can happen at my age. What a ball game today. The Cardinals and the Reds are not done yet. We're in the 9th inning. 7 runs, 12 hits, an error for Cincinnati. They've left 10 men on the bases. 6-11-2 are the totals for the Cardinals, and they have left a total of 7. Brandon Phillips up there against Braden Looper. McCracken to follow.
This game sure has taken some twists and turns, which many major league games do, but this one's been full of them. Both starting pitchers really struggling in the 1st inning. Arroyo and Mark Mulder throwing a lot of pitches, and there's just been action back and forth since.
Rolling a quick release, a nice dig over there at first base by Pujols in backhanded fashion, and Phillips is out number 1. McCracken in his first Cincinnati Reds at bat homered in the 8th inning against Adam Wainwright. He wears a very familiar number when you think about the Cincinnati Reds in recent time. That would be that of Ken Griffey Jr., who is sporting number 3 this season. A bunt in the air, and good reaction by Looper after he had that follow through, and that bunt is out number 2. And a lot of Cardinal fans wishing that McCracken had done that in the 8th inning.
David Weathers has taken the role of the stopper for the Reds. He's loosening. He'll pitch the bottom of the 9th. Braden Looper's job is to keep this game close. And you are right. Quentin McCracken goes deep and then bunts the next time up. How about that?
And we know one thing. Weathers will be facing Pujols and Roland. And a pinch hitter before Pujols. He'll be the number 2 hitter in the 9th. Pulled the string on that one. He's licking his chops, Albert Pujols. Be a grand way to finish the first homestand.
Well, that young man has not given up hope of a foul ball. It's one of the great things about coming to the ballpark in your Scott Rowland jersey.
There's Pujols deep at first. Catcher running. 1, 2, 3. We go to the bottom of the 9th inning. The drama will unfold, perhaps. 7-6 Reds. Cardinal baseball on WB11, brought to you by Southwest Airlines, with more flights to more places than ever before. By Busch, smooth Busch beer and easy drinking. Busch Light. By Dobbs, St. Louis's #1 choice for tires and auto service. By Chevy, see your Mid-America Chevy dealer today. By Toyota, visit your St. Louis area Toyota dealers. And by American Furniture and Electronics, St. Louis's headquarters for HD TV. David Weathers, who has been able to earn saves in 3 of his 5 appearances, will have a very interesting #1 hitter to face. And the crowd just now reacting here at Busch Stadium. It is that man, Jason Marquis. And then it will be Albert Pujols and Scott Rowland as the Cardinals trail by a run at 7-6. Some pretty good numbers for David Weathers.
Well, he's a guy that you can beat around a little bit too. He's been an up and down pitcher in his career. Seems to have his groove right now with the Reds. He's earned their stopper role, but he is definitely a hittable guy. And Jason Marquis, what a surprise that is to have him leading off the 9th inning. Jim Edmonds, of course, not available because of the cortisone shot, trying to give him as much rest as possible for his shoulder.
I remember a great comeback. One of the greatest comebacks in Cardinal history happened when they were down 6 runs at Cincinnati early last year, and David Weathers pitched in that game. That was that John Mabry home run. There's a base hit up the middle, and here we go. The best part of that is the fact that Pujols gets to bat. Jason Marquis off the bench to deliver.
4 career pinch hits. This isn't the case of a manager just playing with somebody by having a pitcher hit the 9th inning. That is the most valuable weapon they had on their bench at the time in Jason Marquis. And here's the most valuable weapon in all of baseball in Albert Pujols, with a chance to end this game.
He has hit 3 home runs in a game. He did it against the Cubs at Wrigley. He did it in a spring training game, the tail end of the 2006 spring training season. He's hit 2 today. He's driven in 3. 7-6 Cincinnati. Good breaking ball over for a strike. Weathers knows that he has not fared all that well against Albert Pujols. And if Weathers knows it, you know Albert knows it. Tying run at first. Fouled away. The groans from this crowd here at Busch Stadium. Cardinals have hit 3 home runs. The Reds have belted 3 home runs. Will a home run decide it? Deep to left. Has a home run decided it? Indeed, it's a home run. The Cardinals win the home run derby, and they win the game.
Talk about one of those magical moments at a ballpark. Happy Easter, Albert Pujols. 3 home runs including the game winner in the 9th inning against David Weathers. There was no doubt about that one as long as it stayed fair. And Albert, 4 home runs in this series down the left field line. What a thrill at Busch Stadium.
How fair can it be? Just enough. 40,068 paid to see it today. This is one we'll remember for a long time to come. Is there any doubt this is our play of the game? Brought to you by Budweiser. This is beer.
David Weathers gets one right over the middle of the plate, and Albert Pujols, home run number 3. And how about the celebration that he has? Jumping in the air on his way to first base, and that little stutter step at home as he greets his teammates, and a great thrill at Busch.
Sometimes the stars come to play. There was some drama in the bottom of the 9th inning as the Cardinals pulled down the curtain on the homestand with a very memorable victory.
Well, Jason Marquis starts it off in the 9th inning with a base hit, and in an up and down game, Albert Pujols ends it on the biggest up of all with a home run number 3 of the day and a game winner.
Cardinal baseball produced by Bud Productions, an exclusive presentation of WB11 KPLR TV. The next Cardinal broadcast tomorrow from Pittsburgh at 5:30 Central on FSN. Our final score today: the Cardinals win it 8-7 over Cincinnati. Stay tuned to the WB11 Cardinals postgame show coming up next. For Rick Horton, Rich Gould, Wayne Hagan. Happy Easter.